storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Salutare tuturor! Da, reacționăm, da, bineînțeles reacționăm, da, și jucăm astăzi. Pe cameră, bineînțeles că vedeți și voi cum să vedeți și voi că astăzi nu prea n-am reușit să fac chestia asta, dar am zis că jucăm cu abonații, așa că da, reacționăm imediat. Da, bag un joc, da, cât începe. Hai bă, să văd la finale. N-am votat deocamdată Guy Boss, așa că hai să dăm și noi un match. Începem un match, băieți, și pe aia după aceea dăm la finale. Așa că hai să dăm și noi un match. Dăm și noi un match. Ok, dăm cu Nita. După aceea o să votăm și noi. Ok, ia să vedem cum jucăm noi cu Nita astăzi cu așa cameră. După aceea o să jucăm și cu cine dorește, o să joc și cu abonații, așa că ia să vedeți cum joc eu așa frumos. Cum joc eu pe Ok. Merg bine sau? Mamă, cum joc? Bă, ok. Ok, poate câștigăm așa. Oare? Da și voi un like, acum încerc să mă chinui cât de cât, dar sper să se vadă. Ok. Aoleu, nu. M-a bătut, bă. M-a bătut. Da, ce să mai zicem. Cred că cam atâta. Hai să schimbăm pe... Da, acum. Așa. Gata, meci. Gata cu meciuri, băieți. Hai să ne dăm pe Brawl Stars, băieți. Că gata, ne uităm și la finale. Pe bune acum. Am mai rezolvat câteva treburi. Stați un pic că mi s-a blocat. Ok. Am rezolvat niște treburi. Nu mai are așa lag, așa că puteți să vedeți și voi. Așa că hai să intrăm și noi aici. Hai să vă dăm și noi aici frumos pe contul secundar să vedem predictul. Avem aici Assist Gam cu Zeta Division. Opa, vedem. Nu știu cine o să câștige aici. Sunt 4 meciuri în care cât de cât, ce să mai zicem, votăm orice Gam e bună și asta cu Zeta să luăm Gaibos dăm cu Zeta. Ok, hai să luăm pe Zeta. Dacă zici că câștigă Zeta, mi se pare că nu știu ce să zic, Zeta să fie aici, nu știu ce să zic, Zeta Division cu mare. Hai, zicem că dăm Zeta. Aici luăm siguranță Himblet. Ok. Aici luăm Leveta cu Crazy Voleu. Aici Crazy Recon cu Elveta, nu știu ce să zic dacă să luăm Zeta, băi. Da, am luat Zeta, mă. Crazy Recon, crezi că merită Guy Boss? Mihai, nu cred că o să jucăm altă dată 1v1. Sper că nu se super, facem campionatul. Așa că să vedem. Bine, hai să luăm așa. Avem aici rival cu... Da, luăm. Cu siguranță luăm una de Europa. Aici o să luăm... Aici dăm predictul pe contul secundar. O să dăm predict așa. Pe contul secundar, bineînțeles, avem Zeta. Ok, bun. E bun. Rezi cu repli, ok. Da, am pus cât de cât. Avem Zeta Division cu așa. Ok, am votat și avem 140 aici. Ne mai trebuie un pic și ajungem 150. Ok, avem doar 2000. Oh, e bun. Nu-i rău. Cine crezi? Replin, Tom, crezi că ultimul meci Gaibos că câștigă? Nu știu ce să zic, să câștige. Hai să ne mutăm pe contul cel mare, că pe contul secundar revenim mai încolo. Dacă noi am terminat punctajul aici la contul cel mare, următor facem aici. Așa că mai avem 3 minute, stăm pe relax, ce să mai zicem, mai avem 3 minute până vin finalele acestea, bineînțeles că poate o să vină. Salut Vasile YouTube 1, 2, 3, bine ai venit pe chat și rezi foarte mult, dă și tu un like acolo. Astăzi o să reacționăm a doua zi de campionat mondial de Brawl Stars, dacă știi, dacă știi campionatul mondial Vasile YouTube 1, 2, 3, dacă mai ești pe chat, sau Guy Boss, dacă mai ești pe chat să mai scrii ceva acolo, dacă mai ești pe chat Guy Boss, dacă e, sau Vasile YouTube 1, 2, 3, dacă mai ești pe chat să scrii ceva, că na. Așa. Salut. Știu. Ok, Vasile, ok. Mai sunt câteva minute să vedem câteva. Am dat deja predicția pe contul secundar, dar pe contul cel mare nu dau predicții. Din păcate nu vreau să dau predicții, că după aceea, nu știu, o să regret sau nu știu ce să zic, să dau predicții și pe contul mare, nu cred că mai este un minut. Nu cred că dau predicții, nici măcar mă gândesc să dau predicții. Așa că mă mai gândesc dacă dau predicții sau nu. Am zis că facem și a doua zi de... Avem 4... Stai un pic, avem 3 star drop-uri și o legendară și un pin. Bineînțeles că cred că cel mai important este legendara aia. Cel mai mult și pinul. Dar cele trei alea random nu prea bine stă, dar nu, foarte rar poate să se pice o legendară sau o mitică. Hai să zicem că sunt șanse mari. Dar o legendară e ok. Bineînțeles că este foarte ok să îți dea o legendară. Ok, mai este încă câteva minute. Ia să dăm un reset dacă e. Îi dăm un refresh. Avem 50 de secunde. Ok. Hai mă, că mai vine acușa. Ok, mai avem încă 42. Ok, ia să vedem dacă facem și noi punctajul astăzi. Dacă facem și noi punctajul astăzi. Dacă eu zic că finalista o să fie echipa italiană, care e formată din 2 italieni și un spaniol, pentru că mi se pare că au jucat cum trebuie, și ăia din și ceanții, mi se pare că hai că se încarcă. Îi dau reset. Se încarcă oare? Acum se încarcă oare? Mă, mergi? Uite că merge, ok. Nu pe Twitter, te rog, nu vreau pe Twitter. De ce pe las că merge și Twitter. Merge și Twitter, nu e o problemă. Spuneți-mi dacă este lag. Dacă este lag, să meargă bine. Scuze că n-am mai fost online, nu e o problemă. Care pot să merge bine? Merge bine acum ia să vedem. Merge bine acum sau cum trebuie? Ia să vedem. Că știi că recarvă. Da, ok. Merge bine. Sper că merge bine. Am dat astăzi niște teste și am schimbat niște setări. Dacă vă dați seama acum dacă merge sau nu. Nu este... E un pic setat, un pic, ia să vedem dacă îi dăm ecran. Așa. Avem reluarea ne dă reluarea de ieri. Cum s-a jucat ieri. Au jucat două live-uri au fost făcute ieri. Așa că ne dă o eroare aici. Cred că închidem și noi becul sau nu știu, mi se pare mai bine așa cu becul. Hai să zicem că merge așa, stați. Până dă eroare, dau și eu, zic așa. Așa. Până dă eroare, puteți scrie și în chat dacă merge cum trebuie. Sper că merge cum trebuie. Avem aici opa. SpongeBob. Finality Square Surge. Opa. Care băieți? Cred că Square Surge. Bă, era Skate Surge, bă, stai un pic. Era, bă, care Brawl Pass. Nu știam. Era Surge, bă, ești prost. Am gândit eu greșit acolo, nu am votat cum trebuie, stați. N-a fost bine acolo, dar asta e, am pierdut câteva puncte, dar asta e, revin imediat, stați un pic să dau sonoro.
The Brawl Stars Championship belt. And not only that, but from today, all of our matches are best of fives. So, with that being said, it is time to send you over to our casters. In the booth, we've got Uber and Kenny.
And what a day for it, folks. My goodness. The atmosphere in here, absolutely electric. Standing room only in the arena here live from Brawlfest in Helsinki. Welcome back to the desk. I'm Mitch Leslie here, joined by Kenneth Barlow III. That's true and real. Guarantee you.
Simply false.
It's a great sounding name, I'm not going to lie.
It is,
I tell you what, looking back over yesterday, we whittled 12 teams down to 8, Kenny, and we had banger after banger after banger. Some of the most high-quality games, the highest density of high-quality games we've ever seen in a day of Brawl. And I've got a feeling we're far from done.
This crowd was loud and proud as well. It is buzzing here today. It's tough competition, though. We eliminated an entire region yesterday, and today we've got some of EMEA's finest kicking us off.
Absolutely. EMEA came into this tournament with 5 seeds, so plenty of representation, and much of that has been kept intact. Let's have a look at our results from yesterday and get you up to speed with an explosive day 1. Here are your groups, and bear in mind, these matches were all best of 3s, so there really weren't too many second chances for teams that were slow to start. Group A saw SK Gaming advance in first place with Elevate in second. We saw Reply Totem having to come through LCQ, Kenny, getting out of Group B in first over Pioneers.
And they're one of the few LCQ teams left. They somehow go through the gauntlet, survive, take on SSG, SA's #1, Pioneers #2 in North America, and come out unscathed. On the other end, the Group of Death, Group C, a lot of action went down there. Both of those teams that made it through, Crazy Raccoons, Zeta Division, who we'll see momentarily, are certainly battle-tested.
Now, with 4 EMEA teams in the competition, it was almost inevitable that we'd see an interregional clash here in the quarterfinals. Here are your matches for today. We've got 4 best of 5 quarterfinals on deck for you. We're starting with an absolute doozy. 2 teams with massive reputations, huge followings, that haven't really played in a game of consequence on the world stage ever.
In terms of international level, not a lot to it. I mean, Zeta Division has not really faced off against the players of SK Gaming, but safe to say SK Gaming all have roster members that have come just short of success here at an international level. On the other end, however, they're 2023 world champions.
Absolutely, and they mean business here in 2024. Remember, it's the lion's share of $1 million that our teams are competing for here at the Brawl Stars World Finals. $400,000 for first place, trickling down, of course. And all of our competitors today will take a minimum of $40,000 away from this event. 4 EMEA teams still in the mix. No survivors from South America, but APAC still looking scary, and North America has their delegates still in the mix. What are your thoughts? Who do you think's going to make it through today? Let us know at event.brawlstars.com. That's the place to be to get involved in the action. Watch the stream and give yourself a chance to earn some fantastic in-game loot. We've unlocked the rest of the reward track, and so Hypercharge is up for grabs over the course of this weekend. Great way to get yourself star drops, pins, and other in-game goodies.
And I think we're going to be pretty split here on the casting desk. I'm curious how the crowd and the viewer audience goes, but I think today's a pretty tough day to predict in general. Looks like starting out expectedly split. Here's the thing though, Uber. There are 3 of us picking SK Gaming. Only 2 are picking the defending world champions.
Yeah, which is, it's fascinating. I mean, they are the defending world champions, but a lot has happened over the course of this year. And Zeta Division and SK have played twice, but only in quarterfinals, in monthly finals, and they've both taken 1 each. So in the direct head-to-head, it's pretty hard to get a feel for who should come out on top there. SK had such a great start to the year. Tapered off a little bit, though, and that might be why we have a couple of our members putting Zeta Division first. They did fall, of course, to Crazy Raccoon yesterday, but the APAC teams, when it comes to LAN, they always look like a different beast entirely. That's your preamble done. The stage is set. It's time to get this party started. Let's head down to Banks and let's get serious.
Thank you so much, Uber and Kenny. And I know I mentioned it earlier, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to see it up close and personal. This right here is the Brawl Stars Championship belt. What an absolutely epic piece of kit this is. This is what all of our players are trying to fight for and to try and get their hands on. And the closer we get to this belt, the more intense the atmosphere gets in the Superfest arena. But it is about time to meet our first 2 quarter finalists to make their way to the main stage. Our first team had a narrow loss against against Crazy Raccoon in their opening match yesterday. But they are your current world champions. From EMEA, we've got Gero, Meow, and Novi. They are Zeta Division. Their opponents had an absolutely fantastic display yesterday's matches because they are coming from the top seed, hailing from EMEA as well. It's Joker, Lenan, and Yoshi, SK Gaming!
Am revenit, gata, am revenit, băieți, gata. Gata, este... Mă scuzați că n-am votat, n-am votat, din păcate. Ia stai să dăm și camera. Opa, așa. Uite așa. Avem și camera și vedem și noi așa. Îi dăm click-uri, nu știu, vedem. Așa că vă salut pe toți. Am revenit, gata. Am revenit din nou. Aici puteam să votezam. Aici puteam să votez cine era. Aici era Polonia. Bineînțeles că știam care erau Zeta Division. Erau Polonia. Cum să nu uit. Ok, da, știam că este Polonia, dar na. Ce să zicem. Asta e. Sănătate la neamuri. Cam așa. Sănătate la neamuri și la mulți ani. N-aveam ce face. Chestia asta, na. Trebuia să votăm și noi aici, dar asta e. Zeta Division, eu zic că câștigă, oare? Poate câștigă. Da, spectate. Ok, avem un german aici, spaniol. Oh. Ok, spaniol. Și elvețian avem, îi place cortofi, wow. Ca scor. What? Și food, what? Bine, bine că e bun. Cred că îi mănâncă foarte bine. Ok, hai să-i dăm așa. Ecran mare. Îi dăm așa să vedem cum merge. Așa. Mamă, cum au votat ăștia. Nu știu ce să zic. Zeta Division cu foarte mulți votanți cu Zeta Division. Ia să vedem. Ia să vedem dacă câștigă. Astăzi că... Sau poate câștigă Sesgam, nu știu, mi se pare că joacă și bine și ei. Nu știu ce să zic. Joacă și ei bine. Ok. Never see them hit low lows like some of these less consistent, more streaky rosters. It's this stability that has paved the way for Zeta Division to be a household name, not only in EMEA, but globally.
It's been polar opposites, even though they are only one seed apart in this region. Both had direct tickets to the World Finals. SK Gaming start up the year hot. 0 sets dropped in that top 8 on Grand Finals win. 0 grand finals appearances.
Acum așa începe și meciul ăsta.
Somehow we're
Mi
still
se
putting our
pare
faith in them, in
foarte
strengths, in
sigur,
process.
nu?
This is a team that I've heard getting a lot of juice
Nu
from
știu ce
other
să zic.
players. Their success rate was really high. And I'm just really trusting the fact that these guys can deliver on a land setting as well. I also
Cred că o să câștige poate Zeta Division sau Swiss Gam, dar eu acum n-am votat nimic ca cine o să câștige, dar asta e pe contul ăsta. Un meci o să fie pe minus, dar asta e. Ia să vedem, avem knockout. Knockout cu Zeta Division. Nu, ce zic. Cred că merge. Hai să zicem că merge, băieți. Knockout cu... Dacă joacă cu... Nu știu cu cine să joace, stați un pic. Dacă joacă cu Bell sau cu Cold. Mamă, ce banat. Genie cu RT. Banați așa. Nu știu ce să zic. Un ban așa frumos. Fai. Așa că, na. Așa, dacă mai sunteți pe chat, vă salut pe toți care sunteți în chat. Și bine ați venit. Reacționăm și noi și mai dăm și și dăm și noi predict la acest mini-maraton, nu mini-maraton, Cupa Mondială de Brawl Stars, campion Brawl Stars, All Brawl Stars. Să vedem și noi cât de cât aici un meci. Avem în echipa adversă, avem un Grom cu... Interesant. Acum să vedem la Zeta Division. La Zeta Division ce să meargă? Merge cu... Ok, un Meg. Meg cu Grom. Nu știu ce să zic, cu Meg cu Grom, nu știu ce să zic, e mai interesant un pic, dar... Meg cu Grom, băieți, ce să mai zicem? Ok. Hai să vedem în echipa aveți Squid Games. Lola cu Meg. Lola cu Meg au ales amândouă. Echipa aversă a luat Lola. Ceantă Zeta Division avem Meg. Nu știu ce să zic. Mergi la Zeta Division, oare câștigă punctul ăsta? Dacă iau un brawler mai slab, Sisgam, dacă iau un brawler mai bun, Sisgam, hai să zicem că mergi. Aoleu, avem pe Kenshi, joacă bine pe knockout, da bă, Kenshi merge pe knockout, băieți. E mai puternic decât brawlerii aceștia. Bine, hai să zicem pe Meg, nu e așa puternic, de peste, Kenshi e peste Meg. Stai, Kenshi nu este peste Meg, da, bineînțeles așa. Ia să vedem următorul brawler la Zeta Division, ia să vedem ce ia următorul. Ce brawler ia, ia să vedem. Avem Daryl. Ok, Daryl. Hai să zicem că merge Daryl, dar cât de cât merge, hai să zicem că merge. Nu e așa rău. Ok.
But that's not really what SK Gaming are working with. Darlow very solid when it comes to all in between him and Meggy. Got a lot of health available.
Ia uite ce puternic e susținerea cu Zeta Division, bă. Puternic este Zeta Division aici, na. Ia să vedem. Ok. Joacă. Ia să vedem, hai să-i dăm și noi aici un pic așa. Ia să vedem cine câștigă aici. Avem Zeta Division atacă, Zeta Division atacă și echipa adversă Squid Games. Bineînțeles că atacă acolo. Ia uite că a dat un kill Zeta Division. Aproape băieți să elimin și al doilea player. Avem pe Meg contra Lola. dar Meg se retrage și Daryl se retrage acolo în colț și Meg nu mai are superul. Sunt șanse mari că Lola și cu să moară și primul rundă e câștigată de Zeta Division. Urmează următoarea rundă dintr-un meci, să vedem care este. Ia să vedem dacă câștigă următorul meci, dacă e eliminat. Daryl încearcă să elimine pe Kenji, dar nu au reușit. Dar mai este un meci, mai este Kenji și este omorât. Și gata, băieți. Așa au reușit să facă și prima rundă câștigată de Zeta Division, băieți. Asta, deci înseamnă că Sisgam e mai bună decât Zeta Division e mai bună decât Sisgam. Mi se pare, hai să zicem că mi se pare, hai. Ok, hai. Deci Zeta Division joacă mai bine acum, nu știu ce să zic. Ok. Ok. Ia să vedem aici Zeta Division. Încearcă să atace, dar nu știu ce să mai zicem. Ok. 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 Ia să vedem. Mamă, ce aproape sunt Sisgam să-i omoare pe Zeta Division din Polonia, băi. Europa vs Europa, băieți. Dar Meg încearcă să elimină și pe Kenji oare? Bă, nu te cred. Zeta Division ia prima rundă, băieți. Pun, gata, Zeta Division ia prima rundă. Mi se pare că pe knockout nu prea se descurcă acum. Hai să zicem că Meg e mai puternic decât toți. Și cu Daryl merge, dar rest Kenji, hai să zicem că dacă are ultimata, e un pic puternic, dar rest Meg este ok cât de cât să joci cu Daryl pe knockout. Ia să vedem. Aproape să-l omoare pe Daryl, dar nu reușește nimic. Lola încearcă să fie eliminată și Daryl o elimină, nu elimină, bă. Și aproape să elimine pe... Vai, băleu. Câștige. Asta e ultima rundă în care poate să face egalitate din runde. Ia să vedem dacă câștigă o rundă iarăși. Face egalitate, oare face egalitate sau nu? Oare face egalitate sau nu? Ok. Ok. Bun. Ok. L-a putut pe Kenji. Și acum aproape să elimine și pe Lola. Nu mai are nicio șansă Lola. Nicio șansă, bă. Nicio șansă, bă. Aici nicio șansă. Mi se pare. Deci până cred că câștigă. Dar bine, hai să zicem că Lola, dacă are un atac mai bun, are șanse. Dar uite că n-are șanse să câștigă prima rundă Zeta Division. Câștigă Zeta Division prima rundă. Hai zicem că câștigă Zeta Division acest match. Nu știu ce să zic, că joacă bine, dar... Mamă, trebuie să câștige 3 meciuri. Băi, băiatule, aici trebuie să câștige 3 meciuri, bă. I-am zis asta. I-am zis Zeta Division. Da, guys, boss, merge Zeta Division. Deci Zeta Division cred că o să câștige. Nu știu dacă e, dar am văzut că sunt 3 runde. Gai, o să avem 3 runde. Trebuie să câștige 3 runde ca să... Da, cred că e 3 runde, stai un pic. Da, trebuie să câștige 3 runde ca să câștige meciul acesta. Dacă vrea să se califice în continuare Zeta Division, trebuie să facă 3 runde câștigate, cam așa. Dacă avem o rundă câștigată la knockout, următoarea este Hozon. Avem aici damage-ul, cel mai mult a dat cu Meg. Bineînțeles, Meg. Ce să joace? Joacă bine cu Meg acolo, o jucat bine. Așa că, ce să mai zicem, dacă e... Ok. Ne dă și nouă votare sau ceva? Nu ne dă, cred că. Nu ne dă și nouă niciun sondaj, cred că. Cred că nu ne dă sondaj. Mai sunt 20 minute. Hai, zicem că mai sunt 20 minute. Urmează Hozon, care e mapa cea veche, mapa cea de Halloween, bineînțeles, mapa de Halloween, cât de cât interesantă. Mapa de Halloween interesant, cât de cât mapa aceasta, cât de cât e faină. Avem aici banate, Muie, Clank și Surge pe partea cealaltă, Nani cu Stu și cu Amber e banată. Bă, nu știu de ce. Cred că erau bune, mă. Era bine să fie un Surge, mergea, dar hai să zicem că mergea și Surge. Mergea Surge, dar na, ce să mai zicem. Mergea și Surge, dar asta e. Mergea și Surge dacă e. Mergea și Surge, dar ce să mai zicem. Mergea Surge. Ne mai trebuie încă 3 like-uri și facem și noi 10 like-uri. Dacă e. Poate reușim și noi 10 like-uri. Ia să vedem ce alege. Avem la Zeta Division. Avem Kenji iarăși. Bă, iarăși Kenji. Alege Kenji. De ce să ia a doua oară Kenji? Lo, ok, Lo. Avem, dincolo avem pe Gale. Acum să vedem la Zeta Division ce avem noi. Ce următorul brawler în tem avem. Ia să vedem care alege. Care poate o să fie decisivă sau nu. Ce să mai zicem. Avem Lily. Ok, Lily cu Gale. Lily cu Gale versus Kenji și cu Lu. Hai zice că merge. Lily cu Gale. Da, Lu, bă, Lu. Aoleu. Nu știu ce să zic. Dacă merge Lu cu... Nu știu ce să zic dacă merge cu Lu cu... Ba, dacă iau un brawler. Ia uite că avem pe Larry-ul Lori. Merge și... Hai zicem că merge și Larry Lori. Ia să vedem. Ia să vedem dacă merge. Îi dăm așa.
Want to try and outrange the Larry and Laurie with a thrower of your own here, though. That, for SK Gaming, could be an option. Cordelia's picked up instead, so we have such an interesting interaction here between both of these, I guess, what do we call them? Enchanted Forest Brawlers? They both make use of the Shadow Room as a separate area in the game. Cordelius might be intended here to specifically shut the Lily down.
This is such an interesting dynamic because, like you said, we don't too often at a casual or even professional level get to see multiple brawlers go to the underworld. This is a little bit crazy. Larry Laurie makes this interesting. A lot of differences in terms of draft opinion, but SK Gaming, it's time to wake up, folks. Zeta Division looking to continue their world streak.
That's been time to wake up, Kenny. But hey, getting started now wouldn't be the worst. Gero's already got himself into the back line there with Yoshi absolutely flattened by Meow there. Joker really has nowhere to go. He's able to get Gero as a consolation, but Lenar less focused on capturing this area, more on trying to run down the rest of Zeta Division. He's found himself two, but Novi was able to spend a decent amount of time on the point itself. Gero wants Yoshi, and again, the Lu is down. Lenar can't even fight against this Lily.
The Joker ready with a super, a perfect connection as well, but he can't get anything on that hot zone while underneath. So I think Gero gonna be happy to take this trade. Yoshi now right-hand side, and once again, Lenar's going hunting. Navi very close to him. Larry grouped up with him. He's going for the double tag, has a super available, not gonna use it yet. Joker still at the ready, and now has a hypercharge, a dive in, slice and dice for Kenji, and Joker's gonna tie this up.
Here's the problem for the thrower on this map. You actually can't contest the point as Meow. You need a teammate to be there, and you can support them with your longer range damage. Joker eventually falls, but Yoshi dancing amongst the snowflakes here, having thrown a super down, getting SK Gaming into the lead. Here comes Lenar, a little bit low, but plenty of targets to choose from now. It's another lorry that has to be dealt with. Meow is a little bit low. Joker with a jump, dodges the shot, stunned up to the right-hand side, and Novi's got his hands full. Pulled now into the Shadow Realm.
Perfect tech by Larry Laurie, perfect super from Joker. This is the best of both of these teams right now. 70% roughly apiece as Yoshi is back in the fray. Lenar on the prowl, left-hand side. Gero
Even
gonna be dueling. Here comes a double tag. Meow gets connected with once. Some snow cones tagging him up as well, but it's still Zeta by a narrow margin.
Oh, we see Lenar trying to go to the top side, catches out Meow. Now SK Gaming are catching up. They're in the lead. Joker able to get a super on the Gero, basically rendering the Lily useless for the time being. 94% and counting. Joker and Yoshi stacked up. Here comes Zeta Division, but it's too little, too late. Now we have a game.
Neck and neck here. SK Nation getting loud. This stadium erupting after SK finally claim a game. Zeta Division right there with him. This is more of what I expected to see.
Such an interesting interaction between the Lily and the Cordelius. Gero into the Shadow Realm already. Yoshi has to be aware of it. Actually steps forward away from his safe bush, preempting the Lily's foray into enemy territory. Lenar should have Meow dead to right. CS/Emi doesn't connect though. Gero forces Joker to jump away, but Yoshi's been on the point. Gadget used there to get some extra percentage, and SK Gaming are in good shape. Lenar's a problem. He's in the back line. The cat amongst the pigeons. Novi gonna go down as well. Meow finally silences the Kenji.
They needed that one desperately. SK Gaming's entire roster falls. They've got Ice Cream covering the map, though. Yoshi grabs a kill. Lenar already back in action. Meow forced to flank aggressively. Ideally, he'd be in position to try and deal with the other side. Joker with a jump in. It's a trade.
Meow's down.
Lenar can't trade this either. Lily was underneath, and now Zeta Division respond.
Great Gale Force there from Novi. Very timely, stunning out both of those SK Gaming brawlers. Joker has his hyper up. Gero can't really go anywhere from that corner, so Lenar takes an easy elimination. Here comes Joker, jump over, gets Novi into the Shadow Realm, and it's all SK Gaming all the way. Now with a healthy lead. 20% and counting. Gero with a super up, but who's to say targets? It's a hypercharge here for Yoshi. A super will stun them instantly, and it's a card in sight in the spawn of Zeta Division. SK way ahead.
Gero, the last man standing, holding on to a super and a glimmer of HP. Yoshi holding down the fort in the mid. Joker, impeccable defense
90.
here, and they're climbing almost to 100.
95.
Indestructible, it's down to Joker here. A few more percentage points will do the trick. A dice in from Lenar, and SK Gaming tie things up.
And a bit of energy there from the young prodigy. Joker gets the crowd hype. The draft for SK Gaming, they knew exactly what they wanted here on Dueling Beetles.
1-1.
Instantly.
Ok.
For that power control and the Cordelius to answer the assassin threat of Lily. Played out to perfection.
1-1, băleu.
You can see him hyping up that crowd. Get them loud when you've got home court.
1-1, băieți, ce să mai zicem. Ok. Au făcut și scorul. Acum este egalitate. Acum trebuie să câștige toate meciurile. Bineînțeles că trebuie să câșige toate meciurile, din păcate. Trebuie să câștige toate meciurile ca să câștige, din păcate. Au jucat bineînțeles aici frumos, dacă e. Ok. Kenji, a jucat cu Kenji, e bun pe această mapă, mi se pare. Dar au lăsat aici, au dat cele mai multe kill-uri, au fost Larry. Frumos. Frumos chestia asta. Ok. Eu zic că egalitate nu este egalitate, nu se poate egalitate. Sunt egale, dar mi se pare că sunt egale aceste echipe, nu știu ce să zic. Care merită sau nu. Nu știu ce să zic, care merită sau nu, dar merge amândouă, na. Avem Brawl Ball. Ok, Brawl Ball. Avem un Brawl Ball fantastic, să vedem dacă alege bine Zeta Division cu... S-au zis că am... Nu știu care tabără să luăm, băieți. Avem la Zeta Division Kenji, băieți. Avem Kenji, băieți, la fotbal. Nu știu ce să zic. Au luat o variantă... o variantă bună sau rea? Hai, zicem că au luat o variantă cât de cât rezonabilă. Da, Gabi Boss, am văzut și eu, a pierdut Zeta Division. Asta e ce să facem, Zeta Division, ce să facem, Gabi Boss. Hai, zicem, Zeta Division, sperăm să câștige, că... Hai, zicem că și echipa adversă e mai bună Zeta Division decât cealaltă echipă, dacă e, nu știu ce să zic. Da, sperăm să câștigem următorul match, nu știu dacă câștigă matchul următor. Sperăm să câștige dacă e. Avem Stu, ok, Stu. Interesant, Stu. Avem Kenji cu Stu, băieți. Stu cu Kenji. Stu cu Kenji, băieți. Kenji cu Stu. Nu știu ce să zic. Kenji cu Stu și cu Rico și Rico cu Gale versus Stu cu Kenji. Wow. Pe fotbal vă dați seama că nu cred că un pic hai zicem că poate să joacă mai bine, hai zicem că poate să existe o legătură bună să se joace acolo, dar na. Este o legătură foarte bună, dacă e. Să vedem aici dacă... Ok, avem un match echilibrat, mi se pare, dar cu El Primo și cu Stu. Hai zicem că El Primo cu Stu și cu Kenji. Bine, hai să zicem că Kenji e un pic cât de cât e bun, cât de cât Kenji. Dar avem și pe Rico și cu Gay, care hai să zicem că îi pot bate cât de cât dacă fac ei niște... Bine, aici El Primo cu Colette, nu știu, au fost... Hai să vedem dacă Zeta Division recuperează punctajul. Face și el 2-2, dacă e, dacă nu, cu Gale. Acolo cu Gale este o luptă intensă, ok. El Primo dă gol oare? No, au blocat Rico acolo. Băi, băiatule, au blocat Rico. Au blocat. Avem un atac pe Rico și cu Gale aici. Un atac avers. Avem un atac avers, avem cu... Cel mai bun cred că a fost, o să fie Rico aici. Mi se pare că Stu, nu știu ce să zic, nu joacă așa. Hai să zicem că joacă se mai salvează cât de cât, da. Și avem și pe Ghid acum în acțiune. Așa, bineînțeles că a dat și el hypercharge. Ok. Încearcă să atace Ghid, dar nu reușește să-l atace pe Rico, din păcate. E aproape și Gamin să dea un gol, dar apără Zeta Division poarta. Avem Stu încearcă să atace, dar este omorât de Game. El Primo încearcă să-l atace pe Gig, dar nu reușește. Colette l-a omorât pe El Primo și Kenji încearcă să-l omoare pe Colette, dar nu reușește, din păcate. Nici nu reușește. Avem Gale încearcă să atace, dar nu reușește. Avem egalitate în mijloc. Avem dacă e... Ok, ne apropiem de sfârșitul meciilor. Ok, cât de aproape suntem. Ok, ia suntem. Ok, dă gol oare? Dă gol. No, nu te cred. Nu te cred, dă gol. Sisgames. E aproape, dar nu. Zeta Division nu renunțăm să primească Sisgam. Niciodată, băieți, niciodată nu o să primească gol. Bă, încearcă să nu piardă meciul acesta. Încearcă cât posibil să nu piardă, ok. Așa, încearcă să atace Kenji acolo și dă gol. Gol Kenji, băieți. Bă, Kenji, Zeta Division câștigă o rundă. Apropiere de a face un punct. Mai trebuie o rundă și poate să câștige următoarea. Hai, zicem că merge. Acolo a fost strâns meciul acesta. Mi se pare că a fost cât de cât strâns aici. A fost strâns, nu știu ce să zic. A fost un meci strâns aici. Da, și acum încearcă să vedem. Încearcă un atac Colette acolo, dar nu reușește să-l atace pe Kenji. Dar Kenji l-o omoară pe Colette. Încerca Colette, dar au fost omorât de Kenji. Bă, avem Stu acolo. Încearcă, Kenji face un atac spre Colette și primul încearcă să o atace pe Sir și dă gol, băieți, dă gol Stu, dă gol Zeta Division, un gol, dar încă nu s-a terminat meciul, mai trebuie încă un minut ca să câștige, bineînțeles, să vedem. Avem Stu aici, Stu este în mijloc, dar încearcă să nu fie omorât de Rico. Colette încearcă să o omoare, dar Rico acționează și vrea să dea un gol. Dar el primul stă în apărare, băieți, el primul stă acolo în apărare, dar Gale încearcă să stea în poarta lor, dar nu reușește. Dar Rico are ultimata, dar n-au dat. Hai să zicem că au omorât doar un player, Ok, ia să vedem. Ok, avem aici. Încearcă Colette să dea încearcă Colette, dar Kenji a fost omorât. Kenji, băi băiatule. Ia suntem. Stu încearcă să ia mingea, dar este echipa întreagă la Sisgam lângă Zeta Division aici. E aproape să dea gol, dar mai au câteva minute de rezistență să nu dea gol Sisgam și poate câștigă runda asta, dar Rico încearcă să dea gol, bă. Rico bă, acolo încearcă să dea gol, dar nu reușește. Poate reușește, stai, bă. Se poate reușește, nu. A reușit să dea gol, bă, dă gol. Bă, nu te cred. Nu se poate, bă, nu se poate, bă, nu. Acum se face overtime, ia să vedem dacă luptă strânsă, iarăși o luptă strânsă între ei, dacă dă și el, dacă dă un gol, ia să vedem. Și gol, Zeta Division câștigă încă un punct, băieți. Bă, nu. siguranță meciul acesta e Z Division. Z Division câștigă. Dacă nu câștigă Z Division, pe bune acum, ce să mai zicem? Ce să mai zicem noi acum? Jucăm tablet dacă cred că facem la egal. Eu câștig un meci, tu câștigi un meci. Cred că așa s-au gândit. Tu câștigi un meci, deci următorul câștigă ZIUA, cred că. Dacă nu câștigă, sau câștigă Z Division la Gengrad. Speram să câștige, să fie ultimul meci la Z Division și următorul meci să... O să votăm și noi următorul meci. Să vedem care alegem. Ok. Au jucat cât de cât bine. Gay le-au dat mai multe kill, dar ce să mai zicem. Au fost cel mai mult au dat colet au dat ca de... Da, na, ce să facem?
There's only so many opportunities after so many spawns. One kill, and there's 15,000 health points of El Primo just sprinting at you. You can only hold off.
Okay.
It's just too much to deal with. And the El Primo doesn't really have to do anything overly special. Can strip the ball though from plays. We saw Yoshi was threatening a goal. He got suplexed back into Zeta Division's net and lost possession. And SK were in no position to recoup the ball and actually make a shot on goal. Zeta Division had not only a very solid comp, but great contingencies as well.
Now we're moving on to the last stop. Completely different game mode and an opportunity. SK Gaming have 3 players on this roster that have come so close. But to be honest with you, we give them a lot of credit at this international stage. Yoshi made a Final Four last year, but other than that, these guys have been good in the regular season. In the postseason. This is a legacy match for these fellas. An opportunity to take this.
Avem Gemgrad aici. Următorul match e Gemgrad. Hai, zicem că joacă și ei la Gengrad ceva. Joacă și ei Gengrad. Hai, zicem că joacă și ei Gengrad sau nu știu. Avem Surge aici. Să mai zic, merge Surge. Cât de cât merge Surge. Merge Surge cât de cât.
Last stop here too, I think a big part of him as well, the unpredictability of that hypercharge when it's guaranteed to land some shots to explode, so much damage can be applied, and this is also just a great answer into any aggression. If you want to get aggressive, Surge is going to shadow that brawler. Get those free tags so they can get to that tier 2, tier 3, and heck, that tier 4 stage is unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying to face Surge down at that stage of the game.
Ok, ia să vedem. Avem acolo Gaz, avem la Zeta Division și Surge avem la ZIUA. Oh, ce frumos era cu Grom. Nu știu ce să zicem. Joacă sau nu, avem Clank cu Gaz. Hai, zicem că joacă ceva. Mi se pare că poate joacă ceva, nu știu. Ia să vedem. Ok. The damage is something that's going to be an issue. He powers up allies, but if your teammates aren't exploding, if they're not GG. Da, mă, da. Gabos am câștigat Zeta Division. Frumos match. Frumos match. Ce să mai zicem.
In theory, that means SK Gaming have priority, maybe an early gem lead. The ability to let their side laners go ham. Tara getting picked up here. I mean, she can obviously now with that hypercharge blow terrain apart.
Ok, avem aici Tara cu Surge și cu Piper și cu Surge cu Piper și cu Tara. Nu știu ce să zic. E un pic complicat aici.
I think in Gym Grab specifically, when you have a super, and now Tara obviously equipped with a hypercharge since then,
Which makes her super bigger.
exactly, which is easier to hit, disrupts the gym count. If you just need one big play, Tara might be the brawler to count on. However, this counter pick on the other side, it is a tank, but you can get rid of any effect of that pull from Tara's super. This might be the answer that
Ok, asta suntem.
Love the quick response from the bus.
Avem și Buster cu clen și cu gaz. E un tem cât de cât ok pentru Zeta Division, dar hai să luăm și noi, să dăm și altceva. Îi dă o flacără. Flacăra, hai că îi dăm o flacără. Îi dăm flacăra că nu știu ce să zic, e bun și așa o flacără. Are, deja a început bine, ZIUA. A început bine aici. A început bine ZIUA. A început bine ZIUA să ia puncte, să ia gemuri, dar nici nu. Stați un pic. Nu-mi vine să cred. Cred că face ala bala. Stați un pic, cred că câștigă ZIUA următorul runda asta câștigă. Facem așa. Ei câștigă runda asta câștigă ZIUA și pe câștigă Zeta Division, cam așa, nu știu, mi se pare, nu știu. Sau sunt variante mari. Sau stai pic, că se poate schimba, stați un pic, că se poate schimba, băieți. Dacă o omoare pe Per acolo, dar nu știu cum să o omoare pe Per, nu știu. Un pic complicat acolo să-i dea un kill acolo, nu știu cum să-i dea kill. Dacă are 5, dacă îl omoară pe gaz, cam e mort. Cam este mort, din păcate. Ok, se face 7. E bun. Dar nu se apropie niciun player. Atâta. Așa, egalitate de gemuri. Nu te cred. Nu te cred, câștigă meciul acesta ZIUA, bă, nu. Nici o șansă, dacă eu îl omor pe ăla, tot nu face nimic, trebuie să îl omoare. Trebuie să îl omoare pe unul. Câștiga ZIUA un match, dar nu câștigă un punct, nici gând un punct, nu. Ce să mai zicem? Eu zic că Zeta Division câștigă. Nu mă interesează câștigă, cine nu câștigă. Eu zic că câștigă Zeta Division. Sau nu știu. E o variantă mai mică șanse să câștige ZIUA, nu știu ce să zic, runda aceasta. Dar uite că încearcă să joace cât de cât. Dar nu. L-a luat tare acolo, a luat tare rău. Nu știu ce să zic. Am jucat. Ce să mai joace? Asta e, joacă, nu joacă, na. Ok. Ok, Pipare încearcă acolo. Ce să mai încerci? Ok. Sunt 5, are 6, ok, 6. Nu știu ce să zic. Nu. E aproape, bă, ZIUA. Trebuie să o ia pe Per, nu știu cum să o ia. Buster trebuie să o ia, nu știu. Să nu ia... A luat... Să-și dacă o omoară, gata, nu trebuie să ia punctul, atâta. Atâta trebuie să se concentreze. Gata. A luat Sărgi aici, bă. Nu mai e nicio șansă aici. Bă, nu te cred. Bă, cum au făcut Sărgi acolo? N-au văzut. Bă, ce stau așa, bă? Zeta Division. Bă, Zeta Division, ce faci? Stați așa. Bă. Cred că pierdem. Frumos. Bă, cred că e făcut ca să fie așa, să fie predict. Nu știu ce să zic. A fost jurizat, nu știu, mi se pare, ca să fie și egalitate, nu știu, poate a fost de la început să zic că câștigi tu, mă lași să câștig eu 2 runde și tu câștigi 3 runde Zeta Division și gata. Așa poți să câștigi. Da, nu știu. Nu știu ce să zic, că au câștigat. Au stat, zici că n-au putut să facă nimic la sfârșit. Au stat așa, pe mult. Pe mult, nu știu, n-au avut net. Nu știu ce au pățit, dar e mai nasol aici, a fost nasol să se întâmple chestia asta, nu știu. E nasol să întâmple chestia asta. Ok. Avem egalitate. Zeta Division, egalitate cu zis Games. Europa versus Europa. Frumos, băieți. Egalitate Europa cu Europa. Egalitate Europa cu Europa. Să mai zicem. Ce să mai zicem? Că amândouă echipe sunt din Europa.
It's crazy to think that this is the same SK gaming we saw come out in that first set and look pretty lifeless. Now though, they are brimming with vitality. Now, we have a decider set. Couldn't ask for a better game.
Avem ultimul match pe Bounty, băieți. Bounty, bă, Bounty cel nou, bă. Asta e mapa cea nouă de la eventul acesta, noua mapă, da. Asta e o noua mapă. Frumoase. Mapa de la nu din nou update. Bineînțeles. Avem pe Angelo. Frumos, Angelo. Bă, Angelo. Aoleu, Angelo. Nu știu ce să zic cu Angelo. Ia să dăm ce alege Zeta Division. Are ochelari, bă, șmecherie ăla. Ăla poate alege, nu știu dacă alege ăla sau... Avem Piper, oh, Piper, da, hai zicem că... Egalitate acum, deocamdată egalitate. Este egalitate, da, bineînțeles că egalitate, nu e glumă, este egalitate. Ia să vedem aici și avem următorul match. Următorul brawler, ți-ai. Avem Genie. Bă, hai zicem că merge Genie.
Pretty terrifying. We've seen Rival also go for a Gene Grey composition that used like a Grey walking cane into a Gene magic hand to secure a kill.
Genie cu Piper. Zeta Division. Magic.
A lot through the course of this series, especially on those knockout maps, is always a threat. And the Carl.
Opa, Carl.
How about all-in potential for you?
Yeah, I mean, this is
Echilibrat.
but it's certainly aggressive. They're pairing it with the Gus. Now they've got the bubble. They can apply that to somebody at lone Carl and make sure that he stays nice and healthy. A tailspin on top of that. And a good thing for them too, especially in this game, but especially on this map, one flying hook guarantees a blue star every time. And that is something so crucial at a professional level.
And SK's comp here, despite Carl being present, does want to be defensive. They do need to look out for the gene poke damage and the inevitable magic hand development. They're gonna have to find a way to mitigate that. Maybe they hope the Carl gets hooked.
Mamă, Pearl. Zeta Division cu Pearl și cu Jane și cu Piper. Ma. Nu știu ce să zic, cu Angelo și cu Car și cu Gaz și cu versus Piper și cu Genie și cu Pearl. Ce să zic, cred că câștigă în runda asta, câștigă Zeta Division. Dacă nu câștigă Zeta Division, pe bune acum, de ce să nu câștige Zeta Division acum? Are șanse mari acum. Hai zicem că merge Angelo. Merge cât de cât Angelo să joace cu el, dar în rest ce să mai zicem?
Yashi has the shield already ready too. He's got a cookie popper available. Navi's gonna now have to watch for that.
Joker here pops super down. Can play that line a little more aggressively, but still has to respect Gero's damage. Now look to step forward. It's up to Zeta Division to figure this out. They need to get Meow's super online. Put Navi in a position where he can fully commit. Gero flashing.
Okay.
Able to outrange it.
A lot of action. No kills and the first one pops. Yashi grabs one. Navi trying to get aggressive here.
Aproape. De atac.
He has a shield applied to him and they force out a super from Gero, but the big one goes through. Response from
Zeta Division oare ce? Aoleu, deocamdată este trebuie să mai dați o dată un pic ca să câștige. Ok. Zeta Division poate câștiga, nu știu ce să zic. Mai rămas Zeta Division cu Zicames, care oare, bă, da, câștigă Zeta Division dacă se apără bine acolo. Sau omoară pe cineva ca să facă egalitate. Și bine, hai că no te cred, bă. Nu te cred, dacă câștiga prima rundă Sisca, bă, ce trist, bă, ce trist. Bă, Zeta Division de ce, mă? Bă, Zeta Division trebuia să câștige. Dar lasă că merge și așa. A început bine acum. Dar stai un pic. Dar trebuie să apere Zeta Division ca să câștige. Ronda asta trebuie să câștige neapărat ca să fie o rundă decisivă, rău, de tot. Ce să mai zicem? Ok. Uite că au dat un kill, ok, și au luat steluța aia. Ok. Ok. Bă. Piper, ok, Piper. Aproape. Bă. Da. Și oare câștigă Zeta Division? Nu știu. Bă, Zeta Division cred că câștigă aici. Dacă mai dă și câteva kill-uri, dar să aibă grijă să nu fie eliminat unul, că aia gata.
They need to be able to full engage.
Mai sunt 20 de secunde.
Proper activations for the gas.
Nu știu ce să zic.
Joker now, shot clock available. One kill possibly away from day number 3. Lana in position, Yashi flanks.
Ok, 7, 6. Nu trebuie eliminat nimeni. 4, 3, 2. No! Zeta Division! Bă, câștigat noaptea. A pierdut Zeta Division, bă, Gabi, boss, bă. Pierdut Zeta Division. Gata, Zeta Division nu se mai califică, deci nu mai vedem la calificări. Bine, papa, Zeta Division. Goodbye, Zeta Division. Asta e. Ne vedem la anul Zeta Division. Rămânem cu Sis Games în următoarea în semifinale. Avem pe Sis Games calificat în finale. Asta e Zeta Division, rămâne acasă, cred că se duce acasă. Frumos. Hai că o vedem acasă. Nu mai ajunge la. Nu cred că mai ajunge la să câștige iarăși Zeta Division. E bine și așa. Ia să vedem aici. Hai să zicem că a jucat. Au jucat cât de cât Sis Games au jucat. Au jucat fiecare bine. Da, au jucat cel mai bine Joker, da. Stai un pic, că jucat, nu știu ce să zic. Din partea aia din Zeta Division nu prea au jucat așa bine. Ce să mai zicem? Zeta Division nu mai avem. No comment. Ce să mai zicem? Zeta Division au pierdut acasă cu voi în Polonia. Din păcate, Zeta Division e eliminată. Nu o mai vedem. Se califică Sis Games. Asta e. Mergi mai departe. Următoarea echipă care este următoarea match, să vedem ce este. Cine se poate califica, avem aici.
And it's the classic Swiss guy go kill strategy for SK Gaming that pays off in the very end. But none of that would work without Joker in the background, pulling the strings. The master here for SK Gaming. That was a set that ought to be studied. And I'll give you something else for homework, folks. Let's check our bracket and see how things stand as of the end of our first quarterfinal. SK Gaming advanced to take.
Ok, avem pe Sis Games aici. Frumos avem. Avem aici winner. Avem win. Ori avem echipă, bă, organizatori, Zeta Division ia două, bă, două, da. Erau 3, bă, erau 3, bă, da, erau 3, bă, 3. Erau 3 campionate, bă. Erau 3 campionate. Stați un pic. Da, mă, erau 3 campionate. Deci avem aici prima semifinală este cu Sis Games. Bineînțeles că avem pe Sis Games, cred că o votăm. Hai să vedem următorul match. Stați un pic, no. E foarte decisiv cu Sis Games. Finalist Emma. Opa, Emma. Păi hai să zicem două. Au fost două echipe, au fost finale două echipe. Au fost de două ori. Finished. Cred că a fost o dată. O dată, cred că. Stai, a fost de 3 ori. Bă. A fost de 3 ori. Nu te cred. Nu te cred, bă. Băi, a fost de 3 ori finalist. În Europa, bă. De 3 ori pe lună. Bă, asta da. Hai zicem că Da, de 3 ori au fost. A fost Zeta Division, ce să mai zicem. Nu câștigă Zeta Division anul ăsta. Asta e, ce să mai zicem. Din păcate nu mai vedem. Avem o animație cu un nou sezon. Monstru cu Nina. Nani o crește pe Shelly, what? Shelly, bă, cartea, băi, cartea aia. Avem alte reclamă cu el primo cuate poner, bă, aici, cred că e rol. Pedro. Filip. Băi, Filip aici. Bă. Nu știam cine e la Poner. N-am văzut meci cu Poner. Ce să mai zicem? Cotter, Pioner. Cine cred? Ce să fie? Următorul meci avem aici, următorul cu Pioner cu HMBL. Avem HMBL, cred că câștigă, gata, nu mai ce să mai zicem. O să câștige echipa asta. Iau echipa asta, da, băi. O iau pe echipa asta pentru că mi se pare că cred eu că câștigă. Nu știu ce să zic, câștigă, oare nu câștigă. Sperăm să câștigem. Eu zic că joacă mai bine HMBL decât Pioner. Nu știu ce să zic, câștigă. Câștigă meciul acesta. Nu Zeta Division, băi, câștigă HMB. N-ai nicio șansă. Ia să vedem. Zeta, avem aici echipa versă. HMB, bă. Hai să zicem că câștigă. Hai că poate câștigă. Dacă e.
Absolutely crazy. Well, we'll gear up our next matchup. Let's touch first and foremost on Pioneers. A great run for them this year, Travis. Got to be said, 2 Grand Finals wins, 2 Grand Finals appearances, 2 for 2 for them, and for Juan Carlos for paying for second best. A very, very important day.
I mean, second best looked kind of fresh out of bed there, coming in his pajama bottoms as well, walking onto the stage. Honestly, he's been wearing these all week. I don't know if he's always chronically in bed or what, but you know, he loves his long-range brawls, and I think that reflects in the Piper. What a player he's genuinely been all year long.
It really has, and it's been great to watch Second develop along the years, and he's certainly earned his place on the world stage. Fantastic to see him now being able to find his place, and certainly though, must be said, Humble are going to be a fierce opposition. They are the #1 seed in the EMEA region.
And we've just seen how well EMEA can do on the world stage as well. We've got 4 of the 5 teams through to day 2 as well, and this team tops all of them as far as the regular season goes. Semantic, Lukey, and Boss being the Humble roster.
Got to mention as well, Lukey, what a fantastic year it's been for him. Someone that I've really felt was a shining star last year, came just shy of the LCQ, but certainly this year has been flying, absolutely flying. And you know, it's hard to even recall the fact that it's his first World Finals appearance. I mean, for someone in that position, you know, you've got to give him a lot of credit for how he's been handling himself. For Semantic, this is his 4th World Finals. For Boss, this is his 2nd. So
okay.
Less experience, but that boy can play.
Yeah, I mean, expectations he had behind him as well.
Au fost votat de mulți.
And 2024, when he turned freshly 16, he's really been living up to those.
Toată echipa, băi. a fost ales acest frumoasă.
And that's kind of the complete opposite, I feel, for Pioneers. Pretty much everybody lining up with Humble here, all 5 of us on the casting decks, and also the viewers at home as well.
I can understand it. It makes a lot of sense for sure, but you know, I've got to say as well, like Semantic being like on the Humble squad is the most experienced of that squad. Before this World Finals, had only won 8 sets in World Finals. I mean, the 4 that they won yesterday made it 12 in total. That's the third of his entire career of sets.
Ia să vedem dacă câștigă HMBL. Ce echipe avem, ce banați avem astăzi. Avem niște banare, bineînțeles că nu există fără banare. Nu știu ce să zic, o să câștige. Siguranță o să ajungem finale, o să ajungă Sirgam cu HMBL. Nicio șansă Pioners, nicio șansă Pioners, mi se pare că nicio șansă Pioners, nicio șansă. Bine, hai să zicem șansă de 20%. HMB, da, l-am votat pe HMB Garbos. Am votat acea echipă că Pioner, nu știu ce să zic. Nu știu ce să zic, dacă câștigă Pioner, Pioners râsă, nu știu ce să zic. Dacă câștigă această echipă, dar cu siguranță cei mai mulți care au votat a fost echipa HMBL. A fost o echipă care joacă bine, n-ai ce zice, dar cealaltă echipă nu știu ce să zic, cum a ajuns să ajung aici, dar joacă bine cât de cât această echipă. Avem Haste, avem aici, primul match este Haste, avem Haste, fotbal, Gemgrad și Hozon și knockout avem aici. Interesant. Interesant să zicem.
Definitely a nice thing to see the Melody taken out of the mix there. The Mo also and the Kenji, I think for good reason. A first pick of Angelo. I hate this brawler on this map. It's just a nightmare to deal with. So the fact that that slipped through is definitely a worrisome thing, followed up by the Amber of Pioneers, which we saw on this very place. Kind of bringing the goods.
I'm so glad you expanded
Kid.
hating Angelo. What do you hate Angelo? He's probably one of the best brawlers on the map. But yeah, it is extremely annoying.
Amber cu Kid la Haste. Nu știu ce să zic. Amber cu Kid. Ce asta? Amber cu Kid. Și vedem dacă alege un brawler cu cât de cât un brawler mai bun aici. Cold. Bă, Cold. Da, e bun pe Haste, dar îți trebuie un... nu știu, mai trebuie unul de sal. Unul de sal. Ca să sare, nu știu să zic. A-bit. Hai să zicem că merge A-bit cu... Hai zicem că merge A-bit. Cât de cât e ok A-bit.
So we'll see what Pioneers do choose to bring in, whether or not they're going to just pivot off something completely different and just play something a bit more long range, which they are going to do. And I do have to question this Pioneers comp. Humble, it's normal. I love that. But Pioneers have got a point to prove with this.
It's probably going to be second best on that belt. And for me, one of the finest belts.
Ok, avem banat aici Lola, Kenji cu Muyo. Interesant. Hai zice că merge. Ok, hai să vedem echipa adversă, avem... Bă, Kit, no, a început Ok, Rico, nu Rico, Cold, cât de cât poți să joci ceva, uite că poți să dai la distanță. Cobel, bine, nimerește, poate să nimerească pe Cold, că e la distanță Cold, că dă de la distanță Cold, poate să dea la distanță. Dar dacă apără bine, acolo un pic enervant kitul ăla, că... Dar uite că ălea... Ok. Ok, dă damage. Ok, dă damage. Hai că-ți faci să dea damage. Hai că câștig... Da, câștigă prima rundă. Hai, e bun. E bun, e bun. Câștigă prima rundă, băieți. Ia să vedem dacă câștigă oare. Câștigă și runda aceasta. Ok, ia să vedem. Ok.
Under the radar so far in the bush, but it seems Semantic might be scouting out, trying to get a feel of where he is. And Luki going to be able to join him over this side.
Ok. Bun. Aoleu, atacă Kit acolo, și un pic belul ăla, nu știu, joacă cât de cât. A, da, așa. Ok. Dă damage, a dat Colt un damage. A dat și el un pic, acolo dă bine că dă Avid, că e aproape pic. Acum se apropie echipa adversă, Pioneers, dar nu știu să zic, că au dat... Nu a dat așa mult. Dar dacă nu face nimica, dă foarte mult. Uite că vine... Dă damage Cold o grămadă acolo. Ok. A câștigat primul punct, bă!
I think it's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. They didn't even get a look in. Pioneers had about 3% damage on the safe. I'm ready to see a Juan Carlos 0 DPS, to be honest with you.
The stats are not going to be kind, I can say that for sure. Samantha came into the dressing room and said, we're going to lose today. Well, that was not a losing mentality there, for sure. That was just, honestly, extreme. I don't know whether Pioneers maybe just felt they had a winning draft or whether they had a trick up their sleeve, but certainly it is, oh my word, oh my word. 0 and 0 Pain and Juan Carlos, 11 DPS. For Juan as well, Pain is 100.
Yes, damn, Cold.
You got to say how it is, Modesk.
What's that, only one hit across the entire game? Like 11 DPS,
Okay,
0
Cold.
kills. Yeah, he's playing Kit, come on. Try something different, jump on someone's back. He hasn't even landed a super. It's really disappointing from Pioneers. I mean, you can't be getting defeated like that. Their mentality is going to be wavering. They're going to be all over the place.
I think honestly that's probably like the lowest stats I think I've ever seen on a world final stage. I mean, really disappointing stuff, and Pioneers can do better. I know, I've seen them all year long. They are a fantastic team. I'm not sure whether it's the nerves or whether the draft just didn't really go their way. Something is not right, and there is no time now to fix it, really. You know, you've got to come in more prepared than that.
Yeah, well, we had confirmation the Kit did in fact get 0 shots in the first game. So I think we know where to place the blame to start with, but some reparations are still available. We've got a few more sets until they're going to be completely wiped out the competition, and they're going to have to make a change. We're heading on to Sneaky Fields in Brawl Ball, and if he gets that kind of low DPS again, I'd be worried about what's going on.
I said going against my least favorite brawler, but I kind of expected just a kill. Just one, maybe, would be nice. Wow. Sneaky Fields, the draft, and the bans already in. The Max, the Frank, and the Sandy for Humble. And a first early draft of Search, which I really love. It's very versatile to have, and a great tank counter also. The Rico, the Sandy, and the Mo banned by Pioneers. And Certainly, they like to bring their tanks on this map, so I like the flank ban for that very reason. Solid stuff on their front as well. Kenji, though, wide open here, just putting that one out there.
Yep.
Yeah, what a surprise.
They're putting it out there, it's obvious it's going to be picked up. But then again, Humble have the Surge, that's going to be pretty decent against the Kenji. They can add a Daryl or something like that. And Pioneers are accounting for that exact eventuality. They know tanks are one of the only answers to Kenji, so they add the Clancy, who's going to be able to get a lot of levels off those tanks. You just got to question now whether or not Humble are just going to run these tanks directly into it and take them head on.
Such a free Gale map for me, honestly, going into that Kenji. And the Clancy was a nice pairing, to be fair, on the side of Pioneers, but certainly Brawl Balls, we know. I mean, the amount of utility that Gale brings to the table, the twister on the ball to really just get you out of a really sticky situation, as well as locking down some of these lane sides, exactly that. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I think Humble are reading this one like a book. Yeah,
you're reading it like a book as well. Today, you're on fire today, Ark, with these
Is that a compliment from you?
Honestly,
Holy!
And that shows how impressed I am. That shows how impressed I am. Rare to get a compliment on me, especially you.
It's a special occasion for sure.
It really is. Got to bring them out for the World Finals. Humble have their last pick now, then 15 seconds to select something. And honestly, I wouldn't mind just tripling down with the tank counters or taking a tank of their own, the Daryl, being able to add on the 2 rolls. But they're going to go with the Stu, the ability to just use that mobility, get away from the Kenji. I love what Humble have got here.
Yeah, Stu, especially in those overtime scenarios, you're going to be able to really just get a nice lineup shot when all the boxes fall down. And against some meteor brawlers like the Kenji, able to dash away and provide some speed zone potential off the back of that gadget also. Or the breakthrough as well. On a map like Sticky Fields, that can go a long way too. The third and final pick now coming in for Pioneers. It's got to be a good one. They are lacking just a little bit of range. Needs would be nice to have. Let's see, Charlie. Ooh, I don't know. Charlie's been out of the kind of meta for a while. I was banking that one being I'm certainly not a Charlie. A brawler which, ironically enough, we didn't see kind of like once in last year's World Finals. And I'm not sure how much we've really seen it in this year's World Finals, but for very different reasons.
I wish we didn't see it in this year's World Finals, to be 100% honest with you. It's just so odd to me. The draft that Pioneers are bringing out, it's like they're such an underdog team trying to make a random draft pick that's going to throw their opponents off. But they're not that much worse than Humble. Humble definitely the favourites coming into this one, as the viewer said, as we said as a collective on the casting desk. But it seems like they're just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And the World Finals is not the time for that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Semantic there, sending some love, looking very confident in himself. Gotta say a big shout out to the boss as well.
He's
honestly.
looking good.
He's looking great, isn't he? He's putting a lot of work in, and also when you look through his kind of history, he's had it rough in the years going by. 2022 in Paris, getting reverse swept by STMN, not making last year's World Finals, and then coming back this year and coming back as strong as he has. I think that we don't sing his praises nearly enough because he is that kind of person that keeps himself a little bit in the background, a very quiet but very well-mannered individual. And it's just great to see him bring out some of those really aggressive brawlers this year, tapping with those cold picks and those long-range brawlers, and just a very aggressive and all-rounded player.
Yeah, well, we're going to see if Pioneers are going to be able to even out the score and bring it back to 1-1. A very disappointing initial set from them against this Humble roster who seemed to be walking over them, just completely dominant here in the first set on a bridge too far. And by the looks of the draft, I would not be surprised if that exact same thing happens again. Pioneers need to change their strategy. They need to change what they're doing here, or they're going to be going home early in day 2.
Well, I think Payne's got some hand warmers there. So maybe that's the strat, you know? If the thumbs aren't warmed up, just get the whole hands going, I guess. But as we go in now, certainly this is a set that Pioneers can maybe not afford to lose. Giving so much of an advantage to Humble would definitely be a mistake. A second already going immediately in there. On Semantic, goes in with a nice slice and dice, but Semantic gets the final say. The takedown is there. A good defense. It's with Payne and Juan Carlos are pretty weak there on the left and right hand sides.
They get them all the way back to spawn, but it really does nothing for the team as they have zero control. Semantic's going to break some walls, get that grass opened up a little bit more, and make it a lot harder for second best to really show his worth. Lukey with a knockback, not going to have that stunning blow as we see the slows being in as well. Juan Carlos solo on this left-hand side, yet to get a level. Lukey moving forwards, might be able to get a super here and knock them all the way back. Twister plays down to prevent Payne from getting out this locked position in spawn. An all-out control once more from Humble. They know they don't need to overextend for this goal because they're in such a phenomenal spot.
I like that from Payne, being very reserveful there of the cocoon to ensure that he didn't waste it. It's going to be good to have on the defense now. Nice super there from Luki. Oh, and a follow-up from Boss is there as well. Danger here for Pioneers as Humble are pushing forwards. It's just second best now. That twister was perfectly placed by Luki. A simple super shot with a bit of miscommunication, but I think it would have been better to maybe do exactly what they did in all honesty. I think that Pain coming in there would have been able to shut that down regardless. So Boss there coming back, I don't mind it.
Yeah, at least it's a one-for-one super trade. You know, Luki might have used the super to pass the ball forward, but Pain threw out that cocoon. Like, he was very scared that that was going to be a goal. Boss going to get his super again and the hypercharge along the way. Quankolos trying to defend this ball in the corner. Pain in the goal mouth. They're just getting slowed, beaten down until Humble can get an opening, and at the moment, it's going to present itself pretty soon.
I like this from Humble. They're just keeping things consistent and keeping the pressure on Pioneers, not going in too aggressive too early, trying not to feed as much into Pain as he's probably the best person to have on that defense. Eradicated now, super pass from Semantic, and Luki will be the one to score it and place Humble on the map in Brawl Ball.
Well, hypercharge ready to roll for Boss still, and Luki has the super and his as well. Now they go in. A lot of damage going to come down from that. Pain uses his to get a bit of extra mobility. Luki going to be landing directly where second best is as well. I mean, guys, we need to see something past one. I mean, that was a very bad communication there, but still might be able to walk it. Definitely should have been a goal for Humble, but with 20 seconds on the clock, no need for that overextension.
I don't mind this from Humble. They're just whittling down Pioneers and just almost rubbing the salt in the wound. And as time trickles down, it really is Pioneers who've got to make the move. The possession from second best is not an unusual thing to see in this circumstance, though. I kind of feel like it's necessary because Humble are really starting to run away with this. They're making it look far too easy on the world stage.
This is 2 sets in a row where we haven't seen them get out their own half of the map pretty much.
Yeah.
Locked down from Humble, and Pioneers can just stand and watch and come out of spawn time and time again. It's such a disappointing performance from Pioneers so far. We need to question when they're going to wake up, when something's going to happen. Pain on this pick, the Charlie on the left-hand side really didn't do too much at all.
Certainly with experience on that side of things, you know, it's second best first land, you know, it's Pain and Quankolos' second World Finals. It's definitely going to be taking its toll, but I just kind of felt like as number 2 seed of North America that you'd show a bit more of a resolve than this, but so far it's all about Humble. Luki can just pass the Semantic and just get that Gasser Hill along the way as well to stay in position as that Stu. Pain searching the left, but no one's there right now, and now second going to the right-hand side, falls straight into the arms of Luki and Boss, and this ball again is such an aggressive spot. It's just an open door relatively here for Humble to walk through whenever they feel like it.
I mean, it's a 3v1 every time someone comes out of that Pioneer spawn. Eventually they're going to wait for all 3 of them to come back in and have a bit of a say in a 3v3 fight here, but Samantha going to go for the dashes in. Second best trying to follow and gets the gadget heal as well, slicing through this mid, but Luki will be there when he lands. Twister was placed as a kind of insurance as well, but Pain moving forward towards the cocoon, trying to get the kill on Luki, and still nobody will secure that kill. 3 people tried, and he still lives.
Again, just taking their time and just getting the resources up. Boss is pretty low stacks there on that surge pick as well, so he needs to try to level things up. Quankolos just inching towards the ball there, not going to pick it just yet. Pops a gadget as well, but has got to connect the shots to be able to get his stacks higher. And now Luki goes straight in, sees the opportunity, hypercharge there, slams second to the wall, and should be able to walk it in. Humble do it and get another goal.
I mean, they're not taking risks. They're just waiting until all 3 members of Pioneers are dead and taking the free goal every single time. Second best trying to make a move down this right-hand side now. Getting towards Luki. Eventually, we're starting to see something from Pioneers here. Second best goes for the dash, baits out Boss. Had the super, but no opening as Boss covers the goal entry. Pain 1 shot and he's going to fall as well. 40 seconds on the clock, and what hope do Pioneers have?
It's probably the best opportunity that we've seen from Pioneers all day long so far. And at the moment, Humble have got all the control with 30 seconds left on the clock as well, as Boss there pops a nice hypercharge, really just keeping everything in check. And Humble just going to keep that ball in that pocket. Why wouldn't they? It's Pioneers, they've got to make the move, and they just keep stumbling down. Every attempt to even leave the goal face is doomed.
Shots from Boss follow up, and second best trying to make a break for it. Gadget and hypercharge comes in from Pain, but it's still nothing. No kills coming in from Pioneers. Humble on lockdown, and now 1 set away from the semi-finals of World Finals in 2024.
And you can hear the crowd roar behind Humble as they've been flawless so far. It's hard to believe that they can't go all the way, but we've seen some crazy turnarounds in the BSC. And this is the World Finals. What better time to see something from Pioneers but it's very difficult to feel it, to get behind it from what we've seen so far. It just doesn't feel like the chemistry is there. Doesn't feel like there's much really going on with the squad. Maybe the communication just on an all-time low. The pressure, it's definitely getting to them.
It feels like there's no... Oh, but look at this. That's what? 4 kills in 2 sets of Brawl Stars for Pioneers. And Humble, double that with just Semantic in this set. Add 12 from Lukey, add 13 from Boss. And this is squaring up to be a complete sweep by Humble.
I mean, Humble look there pretty much collectively got more kills than we tend to see in a best of 5 that goes all the way. I mean, just a slaughter. It is what it is. Humble have never looked so good, or have Pioneers never looked this bad. It's really kind of hard to say at this present moment in time. It's really quite astounding.
I think it's a bit of both. Humble are looking really good. Their drafts are phenomenal. Their gameplay's phenomenal. They're playing as a team, and it's the complete mirror for Pioneers. They look defeated. Their drafts aren't good. They're not playing as a team. And this is shaping up to be one of the most dominant sweeps we've ever seen in the World Finals. Or in Brawl Stars.
I thought you nailed it until you said the second bit, and then I realized that you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Like, it's what it is, you know? But for Pioneers, maybe they can bring something out of the bag. I like to believe that they've got the skill to be able to do so, and it's just the drafts that are just not really working for them. But, you know, they've got Philip behind them, and he's a fantastic coach and drafter. I mean, he's got that massive, thick Bible of notes every single time we see him. So it's really kind of hard for me to say. I just feel like maybe it's the nerves. I just don't really... But then I say that, but then they had Kit first set. That just was just not it. So probably a bit of both.
I mean, I want to see them get a good draft and put up a fight against Humble, because then we will see if it is the nerves or if it is that draft. So far, it seems like the draft to me, and maybe the nerves do play a part as well, but the Frank, Mo, and Kenji bans roll on in from Humble on Hard Rock Mine. I mean, Ruff's first pick?
Staple diet in North America, isn't it, really? I mean, there's a reason why Humble keep banning the Frank as well, because they know that in the hands of Pioneers it's so deadly. But I mean, I don't necessarily mind the Rust, but I think in this kind of meta, there's better kind of ideas. I think the Surge first pick for me is a bit more of my flavor. I think it's that kind of similar idea that they're trying to go for with something which is a bit more versatile, can provide something of a buff over time to their teammates. But I mean, in this kind of meta, I would prefer to see the kind of Surge coming through. Rico coming in for Humble, you know, is my favorite brawler on this map, has always been. A lot of the time banned for good reason as well. Could be taking that lane side. There's a mid still open here for Humble. Quite like a Sandy pick here myself, to be completely honest, but plenty of other options as well available to them. The Gus, yeah, like that as well, coming in for them. Good range, and we know what that shield can do, and it leaves a third and final pick open as something potentially tanky to combine with that Gus shield.
I mean, one of the best lanes picked up by Humble, and possibly the best mid now picked up after Piper's been banned, after Penny's been banned. It kind of leaves a bit of a gaping hole in the mid, and that's something that Gus can fill pretty flawlessly. Ruffs on the side of Pioneers, it just seems like a worse version of Rico to me on this map. That's all I can say about it. They do have this second pick, and they will follow it with a third shortly after that. They need a mid still, but they're going to go with the Daryl. I don't mind that. They've got the aggression. It's something that North America really do so well. Play these tanks. We saw second best player over on the B stream yesterday, and that man was playing brilliantly on the Daryl. But there's so much work to do left for Pioneers.
I wouldn't be surprised to see a Bell mid here for a second, to be completely honest, and have that Ruffs and Daryl go on the side lanes on the aggressive, get a bit of wall break potential as well along the way, but certainly Pioneers need to go back to their winning ways. Get that aggression rolling in from Juan Carlos, get that control coming in from the mid, and that gem carry that Second's been so consistently doing. And every mode he's been very good all year long. Gene for that mid, I don't mind that necessarily either. I was kind of thinking it along the way. But they've got to have that support network there when that magic hand comes in. You know, if the Daryl and the Ruffs are too busy on their side lanes, they're not going to be there for that. So they've got to be cautious. That vision gear, though, for sure, going to come in very handy with that Gene. Third and final here for Humble. They can go in really quite heavy on the tanks. For me, Clancy going to be that big tank counter, but it's still so strong into non-tank brawlers. Just a bit of a risk to get it up to that max stack level, but once you have, you can just run over your opposition with a Clancy. Yeah,
it seems like we're probably going to have quite a lot of lane swaps here on Hard Rock Mine. Pioneers' best draft yet. And what a time to be able to pull this out of the bag. They need 3 in a row to be able to turn this back on Humble and make it to the semi-finals, but only one set stands between Humble and victory.
No one wants to see a sweep on the world stage, not on day 2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals. And in we go. The pressure certainly mounting for Pioneers. But as you said, Trav, a draft is our favorite so far here from them today. Let's see what they can make of it. Luki already taking an affirming role in the mid with 3 gems to his name. Good. Cookie Popper there onto Pain as well. Really keeps him low for longer. 4 gems now. Sandbags from Juan Carlos are already shredded very quickly by Boss. The Semantic is already stacking up things and just eradicates the Daryl of there. Juan Carlos on the right-hand side.
I mean, look how close he is to level 3 already. He's getting shots. He's getting so many shots against the Daryl, and they're not even attempting to swap because Daryl's going to have a pretty poor matchup no matter which side he goes. Break coming in on the left-hand side from Juan Carlos, and Pain yet to see the light of day in terms of the gem spawner. Now we eventually see this rotation over to the left-hand side from second best, but he meets Gus and Rico on that side. A shield being provided to Boss now as well. Ready to fight off, and already 8 gems for Luki, and KCP about to pick up their first.
Humble have had a great opportunity in the mid to keep this control going as well. Semantic already getting some good value off the Daryl, was now second, rolling in, finds there the nice little supply drop along the way and gets down Boss. This is the kind of thing we need to see more of here from Pioneers, but the gems are not being gathered in the mid. 1 more over to Humble and only 1 more away from a countdown. If you get a magic hand pull from Pain onto Luki, that's the best they can hope for at the moment, but Boss getting some big taps. That gem there in the middle, Humble are not rushing towards because second is being a menace in their spawn.
Yeah, really tough situation now for Humble, locked in spawn with a magic hand waiting for them as they try to push out. Semantic almost at level 3, wants to rotate to that right-hand side, but vision gear from Pain stopping him from doing just that. Second best in the back push. Now the hypercharge comes through. So many bounces, big stuff. That's the magic hand used. Second best should be pinched down here, and especially with Semantic using this super as well. Almost level 3 secured, and 1 gem for them will secure it. Luki picks it up, and countdown starts for Humble.
Second's coming in now, has got support network behind him, but got to go on the aggressive. There's not enough time from the mid here. Second's low here as well. Pain needs to land the magic hand, and everyone from Humble is just too far away. The pressure is getting to Pioneers. It's going to be a match point for Humble.
Something needs to change. They need 3 sets straight, and they can't get a look in. What a start that was from Humble in Hard Rock Mine. 8 gems before Pioneers even saw the gem spawner. Heading into game 2, it's now match point for Humble. Pioneers staring down the barrel. Something needs to change.
It is now or never for Pioneers. Their year's work depends on these games, and they could be going home packing unless something happens here. Humble already. Some nice takedowns on the side of Pioneers, and a break there of the mid from Juan Carlos on the back foot. The first time so far, but Semantic pushing forwards there. The accuracy onto Pain. Second there, uses the opportunity to go in there onto Luki. Getting a lot of value for his time. A nice gadget as well with the tar barrel, but now they're recouping themselves on the side of Humble. Pain has got the magic hand early this time as well. Connects it to Semantic, gets the support from second. Nice stuff. Pioneers starting to make some things work.
Much better from Pioneers off the start. Second best rolls on in, getting the heals from Pain as well through this mid. Vengeful Spirits used yet again, and that's going to be his last one of this game. Over the right-hand side, we see a bit of a trade between both the brawlers over there. Semantic yet to get to a level 2, but eventually getting quite close. Luki, 5 gems in hand, does take the lead for Humble, but it seems to be all Pioneers so far. Second best round the flank, gets a knockback from the Gus shield. Good use of that from Luki. Now the pinch starts to come in, and we might see Humble break out.
The second's been feeding really quite heavily into Semantic. Now the hyper charge from Pain connects to Luki, and Juan Carlos is there. The gems with Pioneers, but a nice reset there from Semantic. And it's not over just yet. They're sitting there, second just hovering. Going to be going into his pocket, not ideal, but when you're on countdown, it doesn't matter. Pioneers are doing work, but can Humble get a reset?
Semantic bringing Juan Carlos low. No more sandbags available, and second best pinned in the top portion of the map. Nowhere to run now, and the 3 members from Humble closing down. Roll goes in, but Paint's gonna fall down. Semantic has the super. Down goes Juan Carlos, as they have the count on the blue side. Second best goes low thanks to the Cookie Bumper, and he falls too. Humble running away with it.
7 seconds remain, and for the Pioneers, it could be all over. There's a magic hand, but the HP is not going to be there. It doesn't connect, and the shield is perfect from Luki, and Humble proceed to the semi-finals.
Disappointment for NA, but an all EMEA semi-finals is lined up for tomorrow as Humble decimate Pioneers.
guaranteed EMEA placement in the grand finals has just been set. Devastation for Pioneers, who just could not find any kind of momentum on the field in the drafts. It's going to be a tough one to look back on, but you can't take a single thing away from Humble. They didn't miss a trick. Drafts were perfect, gameplay was spot on, and Humble looking like a real favorite in this competition.
Taking the words right out of my mouth. If Humble play like this, if they draft like this, they might be my favorite to win it all at this point. That was perfection from them. But disappointment for Pioneers. What a year they have had in the NA region, coming in as the #2 seed, back and forward from late exits to big monthly final wins. But their year in 2024 ends in the quarters.
The scariest part for me is that I don't really feel like Humble felt tested at all. I feel like, Pioneers could have been given everything they had and it would still have looked the same. See the stats, again, Semantic just mirroring second best the entire way through. Makes a lot of sense why he would be on the highest of the takedowns there as well. But Boss and Lukey just always there for the support. And the whole squad, the synergy of everyone working in harmony, it's really very, very scary.
Very scary prospect for those looking on, and especially SK Gaming. They come off the back of a huge win against Zeta Vision to now have to look at this Humble roster as their matchup for tomorrow. Semantic, a well-earned MVP for the game against Pioneers, and what gameplay he brought to the table. So much composure, and the team in general just played to perfection.
Crazy, absolutely crazy. I was expecting some fireworks in that matchup, but I'll be honest, I didn't expect it to be nearly as one-sided. For Humble, they are going to the semifinals and they are looking like one of the scariest contenders, but we've still got plenty more still to come, and that's the thing. We're shaping things up, but we're not done yet, not by a long shot.
Yeah, a lot more to go through today and tomorrow as well. Still, another 2 quarterfinals to play out today, and they're both setting up to be bangers as well, but this one did end with a 3-0 to Humble. And I am scared for what they're going to be able to bring from this point onwards. Let's refresh our minds, look at the bracket. The top portion of it has been completed for today, as SK Gaming took down Zeta Division with such a close 3-2 win to move on and play against Humble, who have just absolutely swept Pioneers off the table. Crazy Raccoon versus Elevate will be the game up next, and then we round out today with Reply Totem versus Rival Esports.
Elevate, the last standing North American team. The pressure that must be on their shoulders there. They were #2 in their group yesterday in Group A, but after watching that, they've got to be feeling a lot more pressure added to the mix. Their entire region now just resting on everything which they do. And they've got one of the toughest competitors in this tournament. I would not like to be in their shoes.
No, NA looking on in horror, I'm sure, at that matchup against Crazy Raccoon, and obviously against Humble, 2 of the toughest opponents they could have drawn for day #2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals, and they drew both of them. Really disappointing stuff for the NA region, but let's not count Elevate out, because that is going to be one great matchup.
And as well, for Reply Totem, there's a good possibility if they play it like they were playing yesterday, that they might also be in a position of landing themselves into the semis too. We might have 3 EMEA teams there. Who knows? I feel like Rival have really impressed me, especially a lot of the talent in the dressing room also. That match is still very much a 50-50 for me. This was the one that I thought would be a lot closer than it was between Humble and Pioneers. I just didn't expect that we would see a sweep here today, but again, this is the World Finals. Anything is possible.
Yeah, I started the day off with a tear going down my face, as my cast predictions did not start well. I went for Zeta Division over SK Gaming today, and it did not play out the way I thought. But for you, for Uber, and for Kenny, smooth sailing so far.
Not just smooth sailings today, might add, but smooth sailings yesterday. 100% accuracy with us, which is a shame because being the predictions master that you are, I kind of expected a bit more.
I'm going to have to pull out some bold picks tomorrow to catch up, I'd say, because I can't catch up today. I'm going to have to go for the complete opposite of what's expected and cross my fingers. It's definitely disappointing not to see Zeta Division go any further in the quarterfinals, because they are the world champions at the current moment until we crown a champion this weekend. So very disappointed to see them go out early on, but SK Gaming with a very deserving semi-finals entry.
I mean, that first match, honestly, was just one of the most thrilling that I've seen on a world stage. I mean, we were watching from the sidelines, screaming our lungs out.
Am revenit, băieți, gata, am revenit, vă să pe toți, bine ați venit. Am revenit, Da, au câștigat HMM, au câștigat, fain, au câștigat echipa versă, au câștigat HMB, am făcut și un duș, băieți, mai avem un pic și ajungem și noi la legendarul. Poate reușim, mâine avem hipercharge-ul și acest, ok. Mai avem un pic. Susții așa, ori finales. Unu. 4. Gata, am înțeles ce a vrut să zică, bă. Care a fost principala, care 4 ești. Am terminat, Gagos, ok, terminat. Ești ok, da, sunt ok, Gagos. Era 4, da, era 4-a campionat, da, bineînțeles, Gagos. Eu mai am un pic, Gagos. Pe contul acesta termin acușa, pe contul acesta tu ai terminat deja, Gagos, deja ai terminat. Bine că ai terminat, Gagos. Hai să vedem, votăm următorul predict, hai să vedem. Care e următorul predict? Dă predictul. Da? E bun. E bun că ai terminat odată. Eu acum mai am. Ok. Dă reclamă acum. Să vedeți că dă reclamă. Bagă reclamă. Sau nu bagă reclamă. Ba da, dă reclamă. Ba da, dă reclamă. Crazy Rick finish pe... Nu știu ce aici, să zicem 3 băieți sau 2. E Crazy? 3 sau 2 băieți. Care a fost? Pe 1? A fost pe 1 băieți? Oare? E pe 1, hai zicem 2 sau 3. 2, hai. 2. Era 1, bă. E 3. Ce 3, bă, Garbos? Nu-i 3. Aici am greșit eu. Aici am jucat eu. Ce să fac? Hai să... Aia e, da, aia e. Ce să facem, Garbos? Aia e. Aia e, ce să mai zicem? Reclame. Dă reclamă cu set, what? Cu 2 skin-uri, mă. 2 skin-uri. Oh, ia uite aici, uite. Elvar formă tem name. Aoleu, elevat. Wow. Nume. Motman. Eu zic Elvato. Cât e sport. Cât e sport. Dacă nu e ăsta, Motomal. Bă. Moto, bă. Băi băiatule, Moto Miss FIFA FFA. Băi. Ce naiba asta? Lasă-mă cu coreanii. Bă, acum au băgat reclamă de Corea. Melodie de coreană. Bă. Băgat reclamă de Corea. Melodie de Corea și cu Spike. Frumos, bă. E frumos. 2. Imediat 2. Ce ai votat? Eu am votat cât sport și vrei. Ce să mai zicem? Am votat ceva, ce vrei. Ne-a băgat melodie de aia. Până atunci hai să mergem și noi un pic pe contul secundar. Până vine... Până face el. Ia să dăm și noi aici. Mamă, cât avem aici, văleu. Cât mai avem. Aici ne trebuie punctaj. Ne mai trebuie punctaj aici. Ne mai trebuie. Ce să mai zicem? Ia să vedem. Că ne mai trebuie. Ne mai trebuie, bro. S-au întors. Să șterge live-ul. De ce să ștergă live-ul Guybos? De ce Guybos că să șterg? Că s-a văzut email-ul. Da, bă, da. Asta o rezolvăm, băieți. Acum am votat, stai pic. Ok. O luăm pe crazy, gata. Știi să o faci tu cumva? Da, o fac eu cumva, Guybos, o tai. O tai eu cumva și niște șmecherii, știu eu ce fac Guybos. Sau îl șterg ori îl tai niște chestii. Văd eu ce fac. Ne mai trebuie un pic aici. Avem două finaliste, două din Europa, avem una din Europa aici, una APE, opa, aici avem una de americană, aici în America de Nord. Avem două echipe de America de Nord, aici avem două. Ok, poate aici, ce să zic, aici sus game cu... O să fie un match greu acolo. Match greu, dar mi se pare o să joace un pic greu. Ne mai trebuie un pic aici, punct și gata. Aia. Match pe cont secundar. Crezi că la 100 câștigă? Da, câștigă. N-are nicio șansă cu Elvator. N-are nicio șansă Elvator să câștige. Că a jucat cu Zeta Division, dar a jucat cu Zeta Division, au bătut-o. Deci, practic, zic că Crazy Raton o să câștige, că Zeta Division e papa, au plecat acasă. Sau stai pic, când au plecat acasă, au mai stau un pic, mai stau mâine, mai stau un pic acum să vadă cine se califică în semifinale, cred că. Cred că, vedem dacă mai stau ei. Ok. Aici este o fată, aici sunt japonezi. E o fată, joacă aici. Joacă bine. Dacă joacă bine și fata, e bun. Dacă joacă și fetele, e bun. E bun că joacă și această echipă.
The previous bearers of the name are still very much in their prime. It's Crazy Raccoon here ready to throw down. And on the other side, Elevate are a relatively less tested quantity. A lot less experience like we talked about here. They're a team though that has found a lot of success from some really great drafting.
Aici e America, avem aici un mexican. Da, practic este America de Nord. Nu știu ce să zic. Din America de Nord. Îi place Mofogo. Mofogo, bă. Ce e mâncarea asta, Mofogo din... Nu știu ce țara aia, dar... e bună.
Yeah, absolutely.
Poate să vedem.
Team in Elevate who make great use of Luffy on the Kenji, especially to craft some very aggressive strategies that really worked around setting that nasty assassin brawler up for success. Elevate, I think in their game against Foot Esports, they led
Ia să vedem, mă.
through the draft. And
Deci avem aici două echipe, una din America, unul nu din Europa, niciun caz una din Europa, din păcate.
Crazy Raccoon have also had their fair share of scrappy games in the lead up to this match.
Și avem aici japonezii, aici în partea Asiei, băieți, avem japonezi aici, întreagă echipă de japonezi. Bă, e bună și echipa asta, nu? Hai zicem că nu e rău.
Absolutely, when Max is available to be picked up, we often see Crazy Raccoon prioritize it. They're a team that loved a lot of Carl, love to use Meg, even the Gene and those Gene Max pairings.
Ok.
This is a team though who have really led more on their individual skill.
Ia să-i dăm cu ecran mare.
Definitely one of their hallmarks. And sometimes the draft.
Au votat toată echipa de aici că câștigă Crazy Raccoon. Hai să zicem că câștigă. Mi se pare că câștigă. Nu știu ce să zic. Sperăm dacă câștigă. Sperăm să câștige. Noroc echipei japoneze. Poate o bate pe americani. Ăștia americani, nu știu ce să zic dacă bate americanii. Nu sunt sigur dacă câștigă americanii iarăși.
If Crazy Raccoon had things their way, they would like to play this with 3 lanes. But there's one critical issue here on Canal Grand, which is that there are really only 2 lanes unless you play something that can float over the water. And Crazy Raccoon have all
avem banați, avem kit, e bun că e banată kit. Avem primul și primul rând la evator omoie. Ok, râtă. O alegere bună, băieți. O ales bine Maia. Să iau un râtă. Un Genie la Genie Stit Tampo. Ok. Hai să zicem că japonezii s-au gândit la râtăși cu un Genie, mi se pare. Și cu un Brock, ok, hai să zicem că mapa, dacă e mapă de Brock, stați, Brock este la Evator, bă, și cu Carl. Deci avem Carl cu Brock aici și cu Moe. RBM a luat Carl și Zeus a luat Brock și Luffy a luat Moe. Asta e. Hai că merge și așa. Aici partea versă la Crazy Raccoon avem un RT, un Genie și un Squeak. Hai zice că mergi la Bounty, băi. Bounty, bă, mergi, hai să zicem că merge echipa asta, dar și Brock merge și Carl. Hai să zicem că merge și Carl și Brock. Dacă e, nu putem să zicem că câștigă niciuna. Au început primul match. A început și primul match din această match.
As expected and transferring over to this left side. They don't want to just take one side. They want to be able to own the left and the right and push Crazy Raccoon back into their spawn. And so far it seems to be effective, but CR are grouping up around these sort of oasis of health thanks to these magic putts that keep everyone alive.
Zeus also punched there by Stitapo. Comparable range.
Joacă ca Jișcă, nu știu. Parcă joacă, nu știu. Okay.
We're going to see some pretty tentative probing for the first part of this round.
10 sides making an aggressive push in, trying to get some damage on Luffy. Takedown.
Okay.
Kill. As we see 10 sides.
Japonezii recuperează.
Still 1 star lead here for Elevate, but here comes
Poate recuperează.
a bit of bonus damage there.
Au. Auci. A durut acolo. A durut. Asta a durut.
It looks like this right side has now been left open. Definitely a
Da.
fighting chance for Crazy Raccoon to start pushing up this right side, and Tensai is going to take full advantage. Now the elevator back in their spawn, this is when the squeak actually starts to become a problem.
Zeus trying to push out of spawn. Knows he's going to take a bit of damage from Tensai to do so. Luffy gets up close. Tensai pops that hyper. Luffy won't be able to get away, but Zeus is there. 1 for 1. Tensai doubles down. Elevate still have a 2-star lead now. The last 10 seconds of the round.
Excellent tanking play for Elevate over here as RBM was reduced to super low HP, but Squeak is bound to start coming around this right side. Everyone's closed in. They gotta get a kill. Oh, and a buzzer beater finish for Crazy Raccoon. A blue star victory to start this one off with a comeback.
Oh, it's dangerous to give up map control against the Squeak. And Elevate don't have a magic puffs-like ability like Crazy Raccoon do, so that poke damage sticks around a lot longer.
Once they conceded that mid area, that's when they started to seriously suffer. We'll see once again though, Luffy starting off, getting this blue star. Elevate already in the lead, they have possession of mid. Tenside's gonna try a different creative way of getting around the left side, chaining up some of these shots, but no kill.
Moya steps up, knows one direct hit would have ended Luffy, but he's able to just crawl away. Now Crazy Raccoon have bush control here. You might see Elevate opt to split the map, but they want to keep Carl within attacking range, and a rocket rain's going to break a lot of those bushes.
Zeus doesn't mind breaking open some of these walls. That can be a critical position for Elevate to control, because Crazy Raccoon had possession, even if it was for such a short duration. They're occupying this right side and leading by 3 stars at the moment. They're in a very safe position, but once they let Crazy Raccoon take control of mid, that's once again where Tensai on the Squeak is going to become a massive issue.
Zeus backing up a little bit more now. Luffy playing cagily. He does have that tailspin at the ready. Carl has everything he needs to go in and dive, but against the Squeak, that could be a dangerous proposition. RBM goes in. Shitapo disintegrates. RBM only able to find the one, but Luffy and Zeus follow it up, and Moya limps away.
He's still got that super though, so he's not looking too bad. Luffy does have a way of escaping from it. We'll see some rocket rain towards the right side. Just a preventative measure to keep Tensai from getting in. But this is history repeating itself. Game number 1 all over again. RBM's quite low on the left side. Pull for Moya, but Elevate still lead.
They're giving up the map though. Elevate.
Salut party fan, salut party fan, mă scuz că nu am răspuns.
Avoids most of this poke damage.
Ok.
Needs to be careful. He's marked.
Opa.
Luffy wants to go in. Slowed up. Tailspin still gets him there. Tensai is felled.
Ok.
They have a 2-star lead heading into the last 10.
As long as
Aproape.
stays alive here on the back right, then all should be good.
Bine, aproape.
Gotta see Tensai on the Squeak come around and close them in. RBM
Aproape.
on the left side. Kill on the Moya. Critical.
Albator, bă, bro. Jucat ceva. Salut party fan, bine pe chat dacă mai ești pe chat. Acum reacționăm, mă scuz că am fost pe mut. Am fost un mic pe mut acum și am revenit acum.
We see this Squeak gradually move things towards the back, cornering everyone in like he did in game 1. Crazy Raccoon are playing this slow and control because really it's their only option. But they've decided to play this way. We'll see them also decide to swap some of these lanes over here. Tensai making concerted effort on the right side.
Mam.
Diff actually on Zeus.
Okay. Luffy still walks out with the blue star.
Mamă, egalitate acum, deocamdată egalitate.
Slim leads. Shitapo getting aggressive here, but RBM is back off spawn, and Zeus has a rocket rain at the ready. Fire at will.
Elevate all alive and healthy here on the right, playing this east versus west that they really did not want to play. Tensai is going to be the main issue for them over here as he gradually closes things in, occupying these bushes with the gadget especially. Luffy's marked, a super in, that's RBM. Contact on RBM, and for the first time, Crazy Raccoon leading in the mid-game.
This is the decider round of this set, folks. Elevate to stumble, allow Crazy Raccoon to pick up some freebies, and that's a mistake they are always going to punish. RBM does not have super up, so no all-in available here to the Mo. Luffy does, but holds the blue star and needs to respect RT's up close damage should he look to engage.
It's going to be difficult for Elevate to play aggro here because Moya is ready to punish with a pull. Luffy, same deal. He can't gadget in on Tampo because he has that super ready to go. We'll see a super in from Zeus, but no real damage onto Tensai, especially as it's all being healed up by Moya's magic puffs.
Okay, hypercharge here coming out from Zeus. The move speed is terrifying. Tensai's down. Luffy maybe overextends, backs away and realizes Elevate have the lead already.
Tampo ready to push in once more on the right side. We see the same thing happen again.
Oh, they're coming.
Tensai storming the right side. Luffy definitely pinched. Zeus trying to fire down some suppressing fire, but Tampo shrugs it all off. The lane switch here with the final gadget from Luffy. It's getting desperate. 10 seconds left. RBM going for the Hail Mary play. No kill. Yes, as he pops out of the super. Elevate still lead by just 1 star and takedown on Tampo, and Elevate takes set 1.
A little stumble there for Elevate in that last round, but they recover with poise. Again, it is a Mo dive. They're all in there. An unpunished trade of kills that gives Elevate the edge, and ultimately the set.
Such a near miss too, because we saw RBM push in with that Mo and actually had to bail before he could get that kill in the drill form. He popped out using the super and then got that final bit of damage for the kill confirm it. That is what kept Elevate in the lead in those final moments.
See here, this is how that first round played out. Squeak hypercharge, pretty bloody good. But Elevate here can't heal, that's their problem. They led at this point in the game, but got completely stuffed into the corner of the map. It was a blue star difference to decided. Then we start to see Elevate's game plan really play out. RBM goes in the dive, but he does so with full information because Zeus spends the round using every super to break the bushes on the left side of the map. So Elevate can make informed decisions about how they go for that full commitment.
They don't want to push in on an enemy that they're unaware of, especially considering that they're playing into Moya, who's holding on to this gene pull at all times. But when it came to critical times, we didn't actually see Moya hit that gene pull. That is dangerous here for the CR squad. When we look at the entire Crazy Raccoon team over here on the left side, though, Tampo on this RT didn't really make too much of a difference. RT is more of a safe selection over here. It also plays to counter this Mo and also the Carl. He can't really push that RT, especially since he's going to always have that super up.
Now zooming out for a second, Crazy Raccoon, as good as they have looked, they have seemed to be more fallible than ever at this World Finals, and those are the reports coming out of the Scrimbucks exchange, what we've seen from them in their group stage, play dropping sets in both of their victorious games. They know how to play from behind, it's not been an issue. They conceded sets here and there, but eventually a team is going to come along who will punish them for every mistake so hard that Crazy Raccoon are unable to find an edge in order to get a set. This is a best of 5, so plenty of game to play, but Crazy Raccoon need to shape up.
When we saw Crazy Raccoon take some L's yesterday, when it came to the 2 sets they dropped against the 2 matches that they played, it was because they played outside of their comfort zone. They tried to play the current meta that they're not really too used to playing. Now when they play something that they're more comfortable with and it still gets out-drafted by Elevate, that is seriously dangerous territory. And right now, in this matchup of mechanics versus draft, it looks like draft is winning so far.
Crazy Raccoon say, listen, we're going to ban every new brawler. All the new brawlers, not allowed. Illegal, actually. Punchable by incarceration. We have Kenji, Melody, and Mo all banned away, but guess who still sneaks through? Angelo, snapped up here for Elevate, and it's perfect for Safe Zone.
He's going to be able to float over this water on the right side of the map, so he'll be immediately able to contest any pesky brawler pushing through on that right side. This could enforce a situation where Crazy Raccoon have to go for something themselves. Maybe they go for an Eve that's able to float over the water on the left side, because otherwise they won't actually have anything to contest that side. That's where the damage dealer for your squad is going to start sneaking in. We see that Colt is an entirely viable brawler here. Also note that Chuck is not actually banned. Colette is a brawler that can permit you to play this Chuck since she farms the hyper and the super off of him so effectively. So maybe that's the direction that Crazy Raccoon are gearing up for with their last pick.
Not always banned is Colette on this kind of map, but very effective, especially when your opponents are forced to defend. She cycles supers onto that safe, free damage that really can't be answered, especially if she's using mass tax to guarantee shielding should she collide with any enemy brawlers during that super. An 8-bit here, really solid mid, often see that picked up. Like you mentioned, Chuck is something that may be played around. Quite often, when you see that picked up, the opposing team realizes they might be priced into just all-inning, trying to race Colt here is great. Silver Bullet opens up the map if they need to. He can pressure the safe down from a very safe distance also.
I see potential for this Colt to simply open up the right side, break that little 2x2 that we see right at the entrance to the mid area of this map. Also, the Brawler is going to be sent around the left side most likely, because that is the optimal position for him to damage the safe while he is still safe himself. I also see Crazy Raccoon with this Colette and 8-bit combo that's very, very typical. Not of Crazy Raccoon, but just in Heist in general, since Colette is usually so effective into the slow, high-health Brawler. Amber, I think, is a great way to respond to the 8-bit because you can actually play at quite long range against him. And the Colette, too, we're looking at comparable range. That super is going to be great at getting damage on the enemy safe. And I think Amber should be able to defend against something super aggro in the final stages because I feel like Crazy Raccoon are really thinking about getting on something that just rushes towards the enemy safe.
Well, also, Amber, crucially, very good against slow brawlers. Brawlers that cannot strafe left to right out of her line of fire easily really struggle. Bonnie? Bonnie? What is this? We have not seen this pick for a long, long time. Again, a virtual sharpshooter, long-range brawler with the ability with that super to dive, to go all in, but this is an odd one.
I'm not a Bonnie believer out here. What are your matchups here realistically as a Bonnie? You're outranged and outsped by the Colt. You're outranged and outsped by the Angelo. When it comes to that Amber, she's able to simply burst you down because she's still a slow brawler. Now, the one thing that she does have, though, is she has quite a lot of health, and actually make that two things. She's able to jump towards the enemy safe and lock in tons and tons of damage on that objective. So Elevator are going to have to consider whether they really want to send someone on recon, put someone permanently on defense to play versus this brawler. But when it comes to actually getting that super, I think she's really going to suffer.
She's not particularly fast either.
No.
She's quite a slow brawler. Again, with the right star power, black powder, you have pretty insane range as Bonnie, which is fine. But her fire rate, she only has one shot in the chamber. Right, so she cannot simply just like send off a number of shots if you need to spam someone down. She really wants to keep you at arm's length, which, by the way, is something that Zeus and Luffy are more than happy to do. Again, it's another bonkers, crazy Raccoon draft here. But we've seen them do more with less, frankly. And you gotta believe it's possible. But Elevate so far have been, you know, dotting their I's, crossing their T's. They look great in the draft on that bounty map here. This is a solid one. I'm favoring them.
Elevate draft virtuosos they may be, but I really doubt they were considering a Bonnie as a potential final selection here for Crazy Raccoon because it's so off meta, it's so unusual, and I think it's unlikely to succeed here personally. But Crazy Raccoon, this is what they do best, is they take a losing matchup and they turn it into a win by raw mechanics.
Here we go, folks. Headed over to Heist for our second set. And of course, Black Powder, star power picked up for the Bonnie. So long range is Tensai. Definitely outranges the Amber here. Luffy, again, as we suspected, will play this right side of the map with Zeus at mid. Crazy Raccoon, though, being allowed to move up here. Luffy trying to keep his 8-bit honest.
Luffy outranges the Colette, and he plays toe-to-toe with this 8-bit over here. Zeus is really focused on eliminating Tensai on this left side first and foremost. That's going to allow RBM to push forward. And note that RBM is going to be charging up his super for free with that gadget that he placed at the back left. We'll see Tensai completely laser taken down. An even trade here for Elevate. They're still being cautious about pushing into mid. Zeus is actually getting quite aggressive, though, behind this 2x2, and Moya is now up to his first super.
Yeah, Zeus really wants to guarantee a hit there by basically walking to point-blank range. All right, here comes that damage. Zeus throws a super down. Damage booster still active here. Gotcha gadget used by Shitapo to try and punish this Angelo. And elsewhere, we have Tensai diving in on the Bonnie to pressure the safe.
So this is how it's going to go. Crazy Raccoon, they're going to play for that control at mid, and then they're going to send in Bonnie. She has to be addressed. Everyone from Elevate has to pivot backwards in order to deal with that, but they're really relying on Moya to be completely up. 100% uptime is what they need over here for the 8-bit.
Zeus here is a nasty angle. This is difficult to punish and dangerous for Moya to play into. RBM going to use the absence of 8-bit through mid to look towards Tensai to pressure him down. Here's Luffy, free safe damage. Couple of hits from Shitapo coming in though as Zeus will heal up, and now look at the safe. Tensai tried to dive, but RBM on defense is able to stand.
This is brutal from Luffy. Hypercharge and super in, but they cannot ignore Moya. Despite the walls being broken on the left side, it's still the perfect perch for 8-bit to lock in some of that safe damage. Elevate pivot back to mid to play control once more. They're only ahead by 1%. They have to hold on to this control in the final 30 seconds.
Couple shots there from Tensai, put Crazy Raccoon at a lead. Zeus with a hypercharge. Moya disintegrates though. This is looking bad. Colette out of the picture as well. Dive in from Tensai, looking to deal with Luffy. Fair enough, but Crazy Raccoon safe is down to 29%.
Tensai is going to lock himself in this back right corner where he has to be addressed. He's a tough bow in. Whoa! Denied, but the ego still hits. 14% remains, and 5 seconds is not enough time for Elevate to get to Crazy Raccoon's high safe.
Rely looking very pleased with himself after that draft. Don't forget, Colette during hypercharge can be taken down midway through a super, but her ego will still go forward and back, damaging the safe. So it's basically a Pyrrhic victory for Crazy Raccoon, especially for Shitapo there.
So Crazy Raccoon's strategy here was to play for that control, then they send Tensai and Site towards the enemy side. But Site is more of a late game selection here. Once he has that hypercharge and the super combined, that's when he can afford to go hyper aggro. But Tensai is always going to be playing that role. Just has to get a super first, but note that Elevate are playing so much more defensively, and it's actually going to cost them. Moya picks up the first kill.
They don't have a lot of map control, and they actually switched Luffy to mid here. A position that he was losing horribly to Moya and Tensai as that Bonnie collapses through the left-hand side. Bonnie's an off-the-wall pick, but Tensai's been very, very conservative here. Taking minimal damage from that Amber, poking Luffy down when required. But Crazy Raccoon, despite an early lead, air quotes being used here, don't have any safe damage yet.
Elevate are playing so timidly as well. They do not want to let Crazy Raccoon connect with the safe, and they do not want to feed this super to Moya, but he's gonna get it anyway. He's got a perfect place to put it. Actually decides to put a more aggro on the left side. It's immediately tapped by Zeus, and goodbye, 8-bit turret. That was a hyper-aggressive placement.
Already dealt with. Moya's still a genuine threat in his own right, but nice bullet storm there from Luffy. That takes the 8-bit out of the equation. Zeus now wants to come forward as well, but they'll look to deal with Tensai. Nice dodge. Gets away from the Angelo shot and gets some safe damage for free. Elevate now have to answer this Colette, who's back in mid, and Zeus is forced to gadget away.
Site barely managed to escape by the skin of his teeth over here. We'll see Zeus consider pursuing him, decides it's actually not worth it now, gadgeting backwards and allowing more room for Crazy Raccoon to dominate this mid area. They've only gotten 5% on Crazy Raccoon's safe so far. They don't really have a real way of simply rushing towards the enemy safe like Crazy Raccoon does in his body selection.
And they're running out of time too, ready, set. There's got to be a shift here for Elevate. Okay, hypercharge super from the Colt. That evens up the game. But Tensai's within striking distance of Elevate safe. And Luffy can't do much about it right now. Zeus has to gadget away. Would have gone down even inside that super. 3% separates these teams.
Zeus is still the guardian of mid. They need to get over 3% here to take the win, and they don't have much time to get there. Moya already 10,000 health strong, ready to push up mid, has that super as disposal, gonna put it on the right side. Sitatampo has the super as well. Tensai, who's gonna get that super on the safe. Elevate have to commit, but they cannot touch this thing, and Crazy Raccoon gets set too.
And so the sacred timeline is preserved. Crazy Raccoon able to bounce back after a pretty average first set here with a crazy pick of Bonnie coming out, and they play really patient with this really long range composition. The Colette looks great as she always does on maps like this, and Tensai is such a nuisance. Whether it's consistent long range poke, keeping the Amber honest, or diving in onto the safe, Crazy Raccoon always have something to keep Elevate busy.
This is what we know about Crazy Raccoon, is their preferred play style is they play 3 lanes, and this is exactly what happened over here against Elevate. They managed to draft something that enforced 1, 2, and 3 lane play. And then from there, they were able to hide behind some of these obstacles, especially against Angelo on that right side. Being able to float over the water doesn't really matter a whole lot when, well, your opponent is hiding behind the wall. And Tensai punches through all of that defense. Doesn't have to play footsies with the enemy side when he can just jump over all of them.
And great DPS in general from Elevate, sure, but you've got to understand, 8-bit has about 10k health. Bonnie, close to that. Even Colette has about 7.7k health. That is a lot to cut through when your Colt is like 5.5. Your Angelo 6.3, thereabouts. So much health has to be cut through on this Crazy Raccoon roster that you can do all the damage in the water, but if you're not securing these eliminations and manifesting map control as a result of it, you are not going to win the game. Slow and steady wins the race for Crazy Raccoons. We have an even series on our hands.
We talk about health, and you can really extend that health if you're able to dodge shots the way that Crazy Raccoon are able to. When we talk about mechanics, we're saying, look, this is a 3-button game. With Hypercharge, you got more. But if your moving is bad, if your shooting is bad, turns out you have bad mechanics. That is where they specialize. Dodging the shots, landing the shots. And we see a whole lot of dodging on that Bonnie. Despite her being slow, she's sure able to survive.
Yeah, I mean, we really undersold, I think, the impact of Bonnie. But that happens very often for any analyst trying to cover a Crazy Raccoon game. So there's nothing out of the ordinary. We're off to Bell's Rock. Next, it'll be knockout time. And again, no new brawlers allowed. Kit, Mo, Kenji banned by Crazy Raccoon. Elevate, similar. Also getting rid of that pesky tick.
RT first selection once again from Crazy Raccoon. The same approach that they decided to take on the very first set, Canal Grand. On Bell's Rock, this is going to be a little bit different because your enemy has to come towards you in those final stages as the poison enforces everything coming close together. They're also facing a last pick from Elevate, a squad boasting a member in RBM that is known for his tank play. So having this RT over here that can split head from base, block in about 6k damage in just a single attack, is going to be a pretty good way of defending versus a tank that Elevate are actually gearing up for with the Gus selection.
They're telegraphing something like that, right? Won't see it until the end of their draft here. But this strategy has had a pretty average win rate over the course of these last couple of days. I think in the previous series, as of the previous series, or the start of the day, Gus had like a 30% win rate, despite being one of the most picked brawlers at the World Finals. And Zeus again wants to go for the Angelo. Again, makes sense. It is that kind of long-laned map where you can find success, but again, look pretty average on heist.
Deviating from the plan would be a tall ask here, but we saw how that Angelo performed in the last set, and it was a serious struggle because he was trying to land those shots. It takes a long time to charge up each one. It's not like Piper where you can fire off 1, 2, 3 in a row. No, you gotta wait quite some time. And once again, I'm seeing a very similar draft to what we saw in Canal with the Gene now.
Is RBM going to pick Daryl?
I'm really thinking this is a Daryl selection.
Yep. Again, centerpiece player on Elevate, getting his first LAN win yesterday against a pretty plucky Foot Esports, one filled with veterans that always is threatening. This is the last hope for North America. Elevate here, waiting for Crazy Raccoon to round out the picks. It'll be a Rico to get them sorted.
Bit of an odd one here on Bell's Rock, considering that, well, it's a little tough sometimes to lock things in. Besides that mid lane, that's where you're going to mostly find the value here with Rico. With that Gene, also, I think it negates some of the thrower effects for Elevate, whether that's going to be viable or not. So Rico is permissible over here. We'll see Brock as the final selection for Elevate once again. So this is a sleeper pick that they pulled out on Canal. Actually wasn't so bad, but didn't really make many flashy plays out there. Didn't lock in a whole lot of kills.
Okay, so this is just a really serviceable mid to long range composition from Elevate. We've seen, I think it was Zeus playing it on Canal Grande. And we saw the Brock being able to fall back while still taking shots, making Crazy Raccoon, or at least making them think twice about trying to get that map control. All right, folks, we're one apiece in the series. Let's head to knockouts as Crazy Raccoon and Elevate look to gain an edge.
Immediate breaking of this right wall, that's going to diminish the value that Rico can get over there. No issue. Tenside's going to go over on the left side, but he's not really using these walls to ricochet off of just yet, as Zeus is dancing on the edge of his range.
Tensai here always on any part of this map can be a threat. Starting to see it get broken up a little bit there. RBM blowing up some of the map so he can help Luffy collapse on that right-hand side, as Moya might not give him a man-to-man duel like Yellow Eyes would prefer. Luffy backed up here on the right-hand side, marked briefly by Shtitampu, who's already developed that super. Not going to be relevant until the gas starts to encroach, a situation that Elevate would like to avoid at all costs anyway. They really want to win these long-range matchups, but Crazy Raccoon have the mechanics ready to avoid getting picked off like that.
Elevate have their backs against the wall over here. They're just managing to march forward as they've healed up some of that health. We'll see a gadget in. No real value out there. Tensai now has a super ready to laser. Bit of an odd angle and doesn't get too much value off of it. Here's a super in from RBM Moya on his last leg. Zeus into the poison. Takedown for Shtitampu on the top right. And a round one for Crazy Raccoon.
You got to feel like that's not how Elevate want these rounds to go. They want to get pressure and turn it into map control based off their poke connecting. But Crazy Raccoon keep dodging, ducking, weaving, diving, dodging out of the way of these shots.
Elevate are simply playing Crazy Raccoon's game. This is what they specialize in. Elevate aren't really getting the draft diff. They're not able to bring Crazy Raccoon out of their comfort zone over here, and it's allowing Crazy Raccoon to actually thrive on this 1v1v1.
RBM would like to do a lot more than just keep ZIUA at bay, but he's just not been offered the opportunity. Zeus struggling against Tensai as Moya just trends to the left to give that Magic Puff's healing back over the Rico. Elevate need to make a play. They can't just let this round get away from them. They need to be active participants here.
So far, they still have their backs against the wall, just like in the last round. Luffy does have the utility of his super available. RBN tried to get some on the right side, didn't manage to do much. Moya's equipped with the super. That's going to be dangerous for Elevate. They don't have much health to work with, and they certainly don't have a way of escaping from a gene pull. Moya is super low. Tensai, and with a hypercharge, a team wipe as he snaps to the right side to bring home game one.
That goes horribly for Elevate. They have to use a Gust Super just to keep them alive. They take too much poke damage from the RT, and they know if there's an RT gadget used, they will instantly be eliminated. So there's no choice for Elevate to use their silver bullet just to keep themselves in the game. Luffy's got to be kicking himself after that.
There's no synergy here for Elevate on these brawlers, on this composition, because Gus, what is he really going to be used for? He has that self-preservation of the super, but typically you're going to find your value from using that on a teammate that's quite...
Elevate really need to get themselves into the driver's seat. They are currently having this match, or at least this set, dictated to them by these previous champions. Good poke, this is better. Moya under pressure. Vengeful Spirits though, staves Zeus off, takes him low, and Moya is able to avoid the shots from the Brock.
But Elevator, oh, what a gadget from Luffy. Finally, a man advantage for Elevate. A super in from RBN. There's one, there's two. Tensai, the last one alive, trying to avoid feeding hypercharge to the enemy side, but he knows it's inevitable. RBM's got it now. Luffy has his super, and Zeus also close to one of his own. Elevate are in a great position.
And that's around one on mechanics there for Elevate. Normally, Crazy Raccoon's MO. But without a draft that is, you know, patently dominant over Crazy Raccoon, Elevate have to lean into the individual. They have the firepower to rely on, as we just saw. Can they do it again, though?
An ambitious super in from Tensai down that right lane. You see them gradually keep RBM and Luffy back. They have possession of mid, and no one wants to push into Moya, equipped with this super. On the left side, we see Zeus in pretty much a stalemate against Site Tampo. It's going to take shots to take him down. Zeus is looking pretty dangerously low over there. We'll also see Moya swap lanes over to the left side, trying to get a jump on RBM once the poison forces him forward.
Zeus spamming pins to Tampo there. Gets him to come forward. Okay, RBM, hypercharge at the ready. It's raining rockets. Chitampo able to walk out. Look at that. What a magic hand. What a pickup on Zeus.
Am revenit, băieți, gata, am revenit. Am revenit, gata, am revenit. Ok, am văd că egalitate Crazy cu Elvato. Văd că egalitate. Ei, cât de cât am revenit pe al doilea cont, mai avem și pe al doilea cont. Să vedem dacă reușim ceva pe acest cont, să facem și noi puncte ajur aici. Crazy, hai zicem că Crazy mai are un pic și câștigă și runda asta și face al doilea win, al doilea rundă câștigată, câștigă 2 puncte și ajunge, face departajarea, bineînțeles. Bineînțeles că face departajare. Aproape, mai trebuie da Grum să nimerească, nu știu cum să nimerească pe Grum. Ba, așa, da. Dacă face schema aia, Rico, ok. Uite că a reușit să ia punctul. Și avem următorul, mai trebuie doar un match și câștigă Crazy. E bun. Ne mai trebuie un meci pe Hozon, bineînțeles. Hozon, e bun Hozon. Hai că merge și Hozon. Hozon nu merge. Un Hozon, ia să vedem ce brawler ia pe Hozon, că contează și ce brawler ia. Bineînțeles. Bineînțeles că contează. Ok. Ok. Au jucat bine aici, da. Recunosc că au jucat bine. Au jucat bine aici. Să mai zicem. Ce să mai zicem, au jucat bine.
Pe Crazy Raccoon.
No.
Dacă mai ai microfon.
This set definitely felt like it was an uphill battle for the NA squad.
Salutare!
I really think that Crazy Raccoon are playing in their own dojo over here. They have enforced things to their will.
Ok.
They have molded this draft.
Crazy Raccoon este 2 la 1. Câștigă japonezii. Câștigă astea, din păcate, America pierde. America pierde, din păcate. Asta e, ce să mai facem pe Hozon. Poate pierde America. Nu se califică în semifinale. Sunt șanse mari să se califice Crazy Raccoon. Acum, în momentul acesta e, avem adevărul, avem banate Kit. Bine că nu e Kit. Bine că nu e Kit. Bell. Bine că nu e Bell. Byron. Da, e bun și așa e banat. Avem pe Clank, primul la adversarul nostru care sunt șanse să nu se califice. Interesant. Interesant gândire. Ce să mai zicem? Ok, cu Clank. Nu știu ce să zic cu Clank, joacă ceva. Hai zicem că se poate să joace ceva, na. Dacă se poate să joace, da, hai să zicem că se poate juca. Se poate juca, da. Avem Lush cu Grom la Crazy Raccoon. Mi se pare ok, hai zicem că e ok. Da, mi-a dat odată.
Two brawlers from Elevate that should be pretty good in the tanks, and here's the Kenji, and now either RBM or
Ok, avem Kenji. E bun Kenji. Hai să vedem ce ne pică din... Ia să vedem dacă avem o surpriză. Sperăm să mi-a dat toate recompensele. Sperăm. Intru și eu acum pe brosa să vedem dacă îmi dă recompensele. Avem Lucu, Gaz și cu Surge. Hai zicem că Bestial, da. Bestial zis că acesta o confruntare foarte fantastică pe Hozon cu Lola și cu Lu. Mi se pare că da, hai zicem că da. Mi se pare că da, e un joc extrem. Ia să vedem. Abia mi-a dat 2 recompense. Ok, mi-a dat un start dop, începem cu start dop. Bel.
RBM yet to get a hit in this game. Get his first one just there.
Alo?
It's an awkward spot for the Clancy to be.
Nu-mi bag.
He's trying to get some damage. Caught inside their loose super, stunned up. Free damage for Moya as RBM heads home with his tail between his legs.
Na, cred că-i bag.
He's still trying to bait out some of the shots. Another super in, and the gadget pop to Luffy. So
Stai un pic.
vulnerable.
E bag?
Remains alive or on the left side. Doesn't matter though. Moya
Ia
has
să-i
already
dau.
managed to farm his hypercharge.
Îi dau reset.
And RBM around the right side is being totally denied.
Mi-a dat bug, că nu mi-a dat star drop. Nu știu, m-au păcălit. M-au păcălit, băieți. Cu star drop. Vreau să mă păcălească să nu-mi dea star drop, măi. Frumos din partea lor. Da, deci... Ce joacă, nu știu ce joacă, dar nu-i bine ce joacă. Ok. Ma. Ok, hai că mi-a dat acum startup. Hai că bine. Bine că mi-a dat. Și hai să vedem legendara. Legendarelor. Avem o legendară. Bine că ne-a dat legendara. Hai mă. Doamne. Hai să vedem ce pică de legendară. Hyper charge, bro. Bro. De ce mi-ai dat hyper charge? Mi-a dat hyper charge, băieți. Boșilor. Mi-a dat hyper charge. Ce? Mi-a dat hyper charge. Da, mă. Mi-a dat hyper charge din... Pe bune, mi-a dat hyper charge. Nu se poate, îmi dă hyper charge. Nu vrea să mă lasă în pace. Mi-a dat hyper charge, asta e, ce să facem. Hai să vedem aici. Câștigă, da, mai are un meci. Da, să... Acolo ăla, ok, acolo. Lu, hai că merge Lu, merge foarte bine Lu. Merge foarte bine Lu, mi se pare. Merge bine Lu, ce să zic. Ia să vedem.
Just yet, just playing the slow control.
This surge, man. This surge is terrifying. Luffy gets taken down. Chitapo benefits there from 10 sides.
Ok, acum încearcă să avanseze.
Chitapo brings the Lola down and Luffy v Chitapo. An anime battle to end them all. Chitapo comes off second best.
Ok, încearcă.
Tensai now approaching with the super to get some synergy here with Moya. Might need to use it. Super in, pops it on himself. Luffy with a cycle.
Încearcă să facă o șmecherie, nu știu. Au câștigat primar, au câștigat o rundă elevator, bă.
This time though it seems like the game plan for the Kenji is so much clearer. Act early, act often. Get up in the surge's face, whether he's level 1 or 4. Take that fight.
Poate reușește runda asta să câștige.
It's going to be difficult because Tensai is so closely guarded. He's flanked by both Chitapo and Moya. But if there's any time of game to go for him, it's got to be now. We saw Luffy and RBM both double stack that left lane. It improves their chances of getting something optimal. RBM playing around this 90 degree on the left side. So active. Moya is still actually lining up these shots. RBM frozen mid-dash. And an excellent start for Crazy Raccoon.
RBM though, getting those credits. He gets a little bit of the job done. Close to silver now. As Luffy steps up to the plate next, but he's half stunned, damaged heavily. Hosumaki healing gets popped here, but Luffy has to play back behind that box. RBM has just hit silver, but Luffy's got nothing to do back there. Nice torrent. RBM gets aggressive, and Elevate finally get on the board.
What an excellent comeback here for Elevate. They've managed to get RBM almost to the gold tier.
Ok. Au mai mult acum. Ready, bun.
How much of a win condition it can be. Luffy up to the skies. Excellent timing on that super. Chitapo had the damage and he had the shots thanks to the gadget.
Yeah, that power shield is huge for Surge. Now Zeus and RBM, The latter flashing his super, generate a lot of threat here on the point. Shitapo falls and Elevate get themselves into the lead. Hold on, we might be.
Ok, aproape. Aoleu, iarăși ia punctul ăsta, bă. Face egal. No, joacă Gemgrad. Dacă nu fac nimica, joacă Gemgrad, bă. Bă, frate, ce aproape sunt. Bă, frate, cât de aproape sunt să facă cei unui. Na, nu șanse sunt. Ba, sunt șanse, hai. Dacă le ia... Pe Kenji trebuie să... Na, nicio șansă. Joacă Gemgrad. Joacă Gemgrad, din păcate. E bun și așa. Doi. Vai. Doi, valeu. Ce să mai zicem? Ce să mai zicem noi, frate? Cât de departe au ajuns ăștia și n-au putut să ajungă.
Quite quick advancement to level 3 for Clancy.
Yeah, because RBM got rid of that self-preservation instinct that was holding him back for so much of this set.
Okay.
Come forward, feed a couple kills here and there. It was fine. Luffy was doing the same thing. Elevate around that control that Zeus was providing as Lola used their
Dar eroare. Cum au putut să nu opere asta? Aici au avut mai multă putere. Cu siguranță elevator aici. Cât au încercat să-i omoare, acolo nu au avut cum să...
Though, because Tensai's still picking up tons of kills in spite of the matchup he's facing.
Yeah, really timely supers coming out onto Shitapo, allowing him to win that protracted battle against Luffy. Every time the Kenji respawns, he is looking for the surge, looking to get into the bush on Crazy Raccoon's side of the map and trap them in their own spawn. But it's a great recovery from Elevate. You've got to hand it to them. They, right now, in real time, before our eyes, are being forged into potential champions by this APAC #1 seed. It's the last hope for North America, and they're giving it everything they've got.
We're looking at former world champions over here on Crazy Raccoon. #1 and #2 in 2022.
Avem Gemgradul pe mapa asta de Halloween, băieți.
They cannot let it slip now. It all comes to a head here on double.
Hai zicem că merge.
People have been saying these demigods of Crazy Raccoon, they've been shown to bleed, to be fallible. We've seen mistakes from them over the course of this tournament. They have played maximum Brawl Stars in every single one of their matches now. Actually, this one, no exception. Double swoosh coming up for our last map. Amber's open, Gene also available, and quickly, Gene snapped up.
Gene typically a must ban on this map. The fact that it's been left open is definitely a statement here.
You got to be Crazy, right?
Surely, I mean, into the Gene, you can't get blasted away, but he's going to run out of those after some time.
Yep, lamp blowout.
Okay.
Unless you have a gear. Crazy Raccoon, do they
Ia să vedem dacă dă ceva.
to this new era of Brawl Stars and pick up the Kenji here to try and get themselves into the semi-final. No, Surge is going to be the answer.
Avem Surge.
A Kenji pick potentially from Elevate.
Airborne.
Can this be exploited in the draft?
Totally can, especially if you go for spawnables out here. Stuff that soaks up Surge's damage is going to be his major weakness. And Elevate can totally sneak up on one of these lanes, but it's going to be a tall task because Surge, as a brawler, he's slow. He's going to benefit a lot from these bushes because he's going to be equipping a speed gear out here to help him out. That'll allow him to encroach on the left side and be super, super stealthy. Maybe even get a few taps off on Luffy. But they're also going to pick up Tara. Oh, they know the Surge is shortcomings. They're picking up the key thing to play the lane against him.
Pe Gemgrad.
Terrifying. We've already seen it once earlier today from SK Gaming. A devastating side laner with ridiculous damage at close range. and a hypercharge that just makes her super bigger. It's a very good super. One of the best supers, in fact. It grabs everyone, sucks them in, especially if there's a gem carrier caught in that gravity. It's curtains for them. And of course, the Kenji, as expected, picked up.
Kenji is going to be feeding this Tara big time though. Should be able to slash through all of those spawnables. So actually possible for ZIUA to go for a psychic enhancer over here. Reveal all of those bushes. If they find that knowledge should be quite valuable over here. Also going to be feeding that surge. Definitely a dangerous prospect. To elevate the side there. Oh, Janet is coming out to play. And Janet has some potential to also scout up the bushes. Gadget and also a star power swap if she wants to sacrifice the time that it takes for a shot to focus in exchange for vision on those bushes when she supers.
That is fascinating. That's right, stage view will allow her to reveal bushes around herself while she is flying. Also, if she were to come across the gems somehow, she'd be dominant and be able to keep them away. Draco picked up for Crazy Raccoon. What a pick!
Definitely unusual. You almost never ever see this. He should have some survivability against this Kenji though. We talk about what are Kenji's actual counters? Well, in a word, tanks. But anything with huge self-preservation abilities. And in close range, totally prevail. He has a gadget that will keep him alive on 1 HP for a pretty serious duration against the Kenji.
Also, his super will heal him if he has the right star power. Which means he can take a bunch of damage and still be a relevant threat. Elevate, have they walked into a hard counter to the Kenji? There's only one way to find out.
Da, invitatul nostru special era mânterit. No, glumeam băieți. Era invitatul special și ce să mai zicem. Da, contraatacul era cu, mergea un altceva. Mergea mai bine altceva, băieți.
Knows that Tensai's coming up, but doesn't have the damage to actually dispel him, and Tensai gets free positioning.
Right, Tensai dives in, not able to stay alive, not inclined to use the last stand gadget or didn't have the opportunity. Regardless, it's Elevate now with an advantage. A slim one though, as Moya evens the score. Remember, this Tara super can break open the bushes on this right side of the map, make it dangerous for Elevate to play there. Tensai again goes for the gadget. This time it pays off. Zeus must take to the skies after recovering some gems.
Got some pretty decent value on ZIUA. Luffy on the left side, definitely risking feeding super to ZIUA, but at the same time falls to Moya. All 7 gems on the field belong to Crazy Raccoon.
Here's Tensai in super, last stand popped as well, but Luffy's able to deal with him. A lot of map control though, given up by Elevate here, and they're behind by 4 whole gems. Magic hand on ZIUA. He does use a shield, but it's broken. Zeus able to push up now. Luffy needs to get aggressive. He needs to find Moya. Where is the tower?
They know she's on the back left somewhere. RBM's gonna try and scout.
Da. Mai trebuie un gem aici. Frumos. Poate câștigă. Mai trebuie un gem. Ok. Nu știu ce să zic. Mai trebuie un gem. Cum să iau un gem, băieți? Crazy Cray poate să câștige un acum, dar îi mai trebuie un gem. Face egalitate, bă. De gemuri. Îi mai trebuie un gem. Și așa, bine. Așa, bă, așa te vreau, bă, Crazy Raccoon, bă, merge bine așa, bă, așa. Și așa, mai ia toate gemurile. 7, gata, bă, bro, gata, Milița. Dar 17 gemuri au luat. Bă, e bun. E bun. E bun, bă, bro. Să mai zicem. Ok. Avem aici niște player aici 5-5. Avem un Surge, un Tara. Interesant. Un Surge, un Tara.
trying to use his wide slash to get some damage on ZIUA without risking feeding.
Un sergentar aici
Feels like an inevitability. Tensai on the backside.
și un
Pretty serious damage on RBM.
dragon.
Expires before he can lock
Nu
it.
știu cum îl stai. Dragul și băieți. Aici tem.
What a dodge away from that Tara super. Luffy's able to get 2 gems to his name. Tensai though will survive. Low, Luffy comes in with super. Tensai fights.
Oh, no! Era aproape, bă, vră. A luat Genie acolo, bă. A luat Genie acolo, dar tot nu. Nu, mai trebuie încă, mai au vreo 4 gemuri, dar nu știu cum se ia gemurile. Vine Ken și era aproape să o moare, bă. Vine Mortis care, nu Mortis, băi. Vine Genie acolo care încearcă. No. Nu, bro. Câștigă iarăși Salvator, bă, bro. Îi mai trebuie un gem, mă. Bă, ok. Nu trebuie să ia gemul ăla de la nimeni, bă, bro. Nu! Omoară-l! Omor! Nu! Salvator, bă, bro. Nu se poate, bă. Crazy Dragon, dă, fă ceva acum. Bă, asiații ăștia dacă nu fac nimica. Bă, au făcut un meci de 2 stele. De 3 stele, hai să zicem, de 3 stele. De 5 stele, măi. 5 stele au făcut. Salvatorul acum au dominat un pic, dar Crazy nu trebuie să domine. Nu, Salvatorul nu trebuie să domine, măi. Am greșit eu. Salvatorul nu trebuie să domine. Ce să mai zicem? Asta e. Mamă. Aici lupta din ring, ultimul meci. Hai să vedem cine câștigă, băieți. 2 la 2. Cine câștigă astăzi? Ia să vedem. Ok, avem acolo Pere acolo. Ok. Ok. Mai trebuie un pic. Mai trebuie niște gemuri. Dar trebuie să ia gemurile alea, nu știu cum să ia. Dacă ia aia, nu prea e bine. Nu prea e bine acum. Ok.
Assistance required on the right side. RBM's going to need some help with Tensai over here. We'll see Luffy charge forward.
Ok, joacă cum trebuie zis.
But elevate. All gravitate towards this right side. Tensai going for the big play. Zeus towards the skies. RBM left all alone.
Bun.
ZIUA looking for gem number 10. Luffy's got to contest. He can't.
Ok, au grijă. Da, aproape să win. Încă 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Și câștigătoarea este Crazy Raccoon, băieți, s-a calificat japonezii ăștia, au ajuns și ei în semifinale. Bineînțeles că joacă cu următoarea echipă care o să fie următoarea echipă, nu știu care este. O să joace cu următoarea echipă, să vedem, stați un pic. Următoarea echipă Retrom sau rivale de sport. Băi băiatule aici. Băi băiatule aici n-ai ce zice. N-ai ce să mai zici. O să fie o semifinală. Aia o să fie, nu știu ce zic, cred că o să țin, dacă o să ajungă următoarea, o să ajungă una de Europa, o să țin cu aia din Europa, nu o să țin cu Ne mai trebuie un pic cel. Încă un pic. Ne mai trebuie câteva puncte, băieți. Câteva puncte și gata. Da. O să joace cu următorul meci, este Totem din Italia. Și cine o să joace din Totem? Dacă una dintre rivalele astea o să joace cu Crazy Raccoon în semifinale, în DAO 3. Nu știu ce să zic. O să fie dificil aici. GG, da, bă, Gabus. Cine crezi că câștigă în ultimul meci Gabus? Ultimul meci, cine câștigă? Totem sau Rival Esport? Aici o să fie mai greu aici la semifinal, cine o să alege aici. Aici la Sis Games cu Bel, nu știu cu cine o să văd, dar aici la Rakan, dacă se califică Red Totem, dacă o să ajungă în semifinale cu Crazy Raccoon, eu o să aleg Red Totem, nu nicio caz Raccoon. Așa că, na. Ia să vedem. Ia să vedem cine. Ia să vedem. Acum așteptăm niște întrebări. Mai avem un pic, Gabi Boss, să terminăm și pe contul ăsta și gata, suntem. Astăzi am terminat, am terminat cu astea. Avem aici avem 3 semifinaliști, avem aici. Semifinală, avem aici Crazy Raccoon. Ok, aici unul dintre echipele astea din Europa o să se bată pentru echipa aici frumos. Nu știu ce echipă o să joace ceva, nu știu, cred. Sperăm.
Against Rival Esports, a huge underdog in their match yesterday, managed to trounce their EMEA competitors, and they can look to do it again.
Crazy Raccoon have survived the quarterfinals once more and awaiting their opponent. It's going to be Reply Totem versus Rival Esports to decide our last semi-finalists. One more match for the day for the Brawl Stars World Finals Day 2. Don't go anywhere. It's bound to be a blockbuster.
Aici să vedem. Suki Master, Samuel. Kenji Kill.
Brawl Stars World Finals are brought to you by ESL. Monster Energy.
Jet Master Kenji. Cum era? Și Master.
Once upon a brawl, a new evil
Samurai.
emerged. A handsome young minstrel.
Era samurai, băieți. Da, nici un caz. Cum să fie altceva? Samurai trebuia. Exact, cum. Cum să uit eu că Kenji era Master Samurai? Băi, măi naiba. Cum să uit eu că Kenji este samurai, băi. E samurai toată ziua. Povestea, încă o dată povestea lui. Aici am ales echipa asta bombea retoment, dar din păcate nu mai crește nimic aici. Așa. Mai face și mâine aici. Mai trebuie puțin. Dar nu ne culcăm, stați un pic că nu plecăm nicăieri, trebuie să vedem și noi acest meci, cel mai frumos meci acesta, nu putem pleca fără să vedem acest match interesant.
Yeah, no, Elevate absolutely played their hearts out and provided some unbelievable gameplay. So sad to see them knocked out here in day 2 of the Brawl Stars World Finals. I really, really wish we could have seen them go that little bit further.
It could have been, honestly, another incredible upset for day 2. We've already seen the world champs go out on the first game of the day. It's just been the gift that keeps on giving. 2024 is at an all-time high.
Okay.
It really is. Like, it's been so dangerous, and you know, we're not stopping there. We've got another absolute banger up next where APAC, I say after APAC provided that kind of gameplay, they better hope that they get another representative a little bit further on, otherwise they might be having some issues in that region as well as NA, but they are obviously up against Reply Totem, which is such a strong matchup.
It's set to be a massive banger for me. Certainly Reply Totem are that team which have just had a really abysmal year, but they are now at a really strong place, and similar to SK Gaming, I've got to say they've got a lot of loud voices in their crowd. They are that momentum team, and they've got people cheering for them.
Yeah, these EU teams have had such a strong showing from their audience, from the audience in general, I will say, because they just have so many representatives, fans who come out and support them, and you know, you don't understand until you're on that stage how far that can go. Having the backing of the entire crowd really gets you through those tough moments, motivates you through the hard times, and it is a big thing for both of these teams to have as backing.
In terms of our predictions, so far, so good. I mean, we differed a little bit, but I think that first match was very much a 50-50 though, Trav. I mean, I didn't blame you for it.
Ales bine aici ăștia.
Just got another loss handed to all 5 of us, I will say as well. A double match point from Crazy Raccoon versus Elevate as well. Luckily enough for us at least, Crazy Raccoon did manage to...
Da, nu cred, Reveno. Nu cred.
That could have gone either way, and so could that last game as well.
I have yet to
Nu cred.
Just putting that out there. Uber, I think, very much as well. This is where we differ as well. Uber's been definitely
Nu cred eu
flying the rival
că
esports banner since we basically arrived in Helsinki, Finland, and I didn't blame him for it.
Nu cred niciodată că câștigă,
But nonetheless, I think this squad have got something special. They could cause another huge upset. We know what the EMEA region can bring to the table. And for rival esports, you know, going back to 2019 with Milk Rio, I mean, we really are going back.
Avem aici contra japonezi, aici Japonia contra Asia versus Europa. Frumos.
Reply Totem, not the same story.
Da.
6th in EMEA, only just squeezing into the LCQ spot.
Ce să mai zicem?
They've been pretty smooth sailing from there, I will say. Had a few hiccups back and forth.
Eu zic că se califică Reptomet. Nu mă interesează dacă nu se califică, asta e. Bă, picioarele.
To bring this incredible matchup. It's either going to be another EU representative in the semi-finals to make that
Ce să mai zicem?
or APAC are going to have an APAC semi-final as well as a European one.
Melting Shoe, this is their first World Finals for Milk Rio. This is his 3rd, and you know, I've got to mention as well, Reply Totem's set win percentage is abysmal. It's the lowest of any team in the World Finals at 27%. You know, it was definitely a rough year in the monthly finals streaks. They went out in the quarterfinals 3 times. They didn't qualify for a monthly final. That grand finals victory, which they got, I've got to say, I say it every time, it absolutely saved them. But as you rightly say, the LCQ was far better for them. You know, being able to really get some fantastic results there and knock out Tribe Gaming. I mean, that really was a commendable feat, and we didn't necessarily know how it was going to fare yesterday.
Monte Replay Totem. Oi, în 2024.
Points of Reply Totem, that's the whole thing, right? This LAN experience. I saw Reply Totem, you know, Chaos alone has like 19 LAN appearances, qualified to all 6 World Finals, 10 of them. So him alone has accolades to rival pretty much team
exact
to completion. But, you know, add Maru, add Mori to that, and just that really well-rounded roster when it comes to LAN events.
And in terms of the drafts, we were quite surprised yesterday when we kind of saw some of these brawlers that we hadn't seen for a long time coming out of the woodwork, you know, bringing in Maisie. We were like, ooh, what's going on here? And it actually worked out phenomenally well. So, I mean, you've got to bear those things in mind. The draft is so instrumental to victory. We've seen that today, and how teams can topple and falter.
Okay, yeah, so them.
In place. For Reply Totem, when you look back through their year and the struggles which they've had, to now be coming in at what I feel is their best performance to date, it's very commendable. But for rival esports, they are an underdog somewhat. I think actually, Reply Totem on paper should be the underdog in this story. And that's not been the case for what we've seen.
Se califică oare? Eu zic că se califică. Rivale cu sport. Nu știu ce să zic. Joacă decât și rivali.
Was so good, so strong, managing to sweep them quite simply, I will say as well. Not really that much resistance from Eternal Fire in that one matchup. So Rival Esports, if you just look at the regular seasons, as you say, you'd expect them to come into this one as the favourites. But you've got to look at the LCQ run from Reply Totem. They're dominant against so many teams and had an amazing day yesterday.
We can take a look back as well at how today is fared in terms of the bracket to revise the memory as well, because honestly, if you are just joining the stream, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but we are approaching our last match of the day. Going back to the very beginning, it was Zeta Division, the world champions, who fell to SK Gaming in two incredibly clutch back-to-back bounty moments. Honestly, one that I will look at time and time again. That made Brawl Esports history for sure. Humble versus Pioneers, though, Trav, that was a complete stomper.
Yeah, it really wasn't that close at all. Humble had the drafts, they had the gameplay, they had the mentality. Everything went right for them and everything went wrong for Pioneers. But I've got to say, that SK Gaming versus Zeta Division has got to be the best, or at least my favourite game of the day. I'm sure you'd probably agree, looking at it from a standpoint viewer perspective, as we both were. But that last game was incredible as well.
It's just been such an enjoyable day, and it's great that we've still got one more match to come. You can hear it behind me.
Acum așa începe. Dacă e. Începe meciul ăla fain. Băieți. Serge. Emi.
This next match will decide the lineup for Championship Sunday. So, first up are your Dark Horse securing their spot in the quarterfinals with a victory over Eternal Fire. From APAC, it's Milcrio, Melty, and Shun. They are Rival Esports.
Luați, e legendar, băieți, nu-i... Mă scuzați. Ia să vedem ce echipe aici, băieți. Avem, au adus rivale sport, băieți. Nu știu de ce au votat ăsta, prezentatorul ăsta, că câștigă echipa asta. Cei mai mulți oameni au votat pe echipa aceasta, Replay Tom 10 din Italia. Din Italia, bineînțeles, sunt doi italieni și unul este spaniol, bineînțeles. Sushi evet never complet. True or false? Melty. True. Băieți, e true, băieți, aici la această variantă. Dacă n-ați terminat, vă zic eu o predicție că poate le știu mai bine decât voi.
Chanting for Totem Esports, possibly even half back there as well. They've got so much support behind them, and the same can't be said for Rival. They've got a few fans dotted around here and there, but this is setting up for it to be a Reply Totem win if you're listening to the crowd.
When you've got that much support behind you and everything you do is cheered upon, it's got to count for something. For Rival Esports, certainly a tough one.
Avem majoritatea sunt japonezi aici. Interesant. Majoritatea sunt japonezi.
Just coming shy of that Nova Esports victory. Of course, for him today, I'm sure many coming back to mind as well that it was not so victorious going back to 2020 where they exited.
Aici finalistul dominos pe sistem. E nu am urmărit, dar cred că eu zic că PSG Sport. Nu, e animare campus. A fost pe 2, a fost animat să da, băieți. Așa era. Nu am văzut, eu n-am văzut campionatul acela din 2019, din 2020 am început să văd. Da, na. Să zicem. N-am știut întrebarea asta.
For iChaos as well, this will be his 5th World Finals. And no surprises there that his favorite brawler is Rico, because that is really one that I feel like Rival Esports might be looking to ban. And if they're not, they probably should be, because it's one of those select picks that you've just really got to keep your eye on. He finds every single angle imaginable. For Maru, this is their 4th World Finals. Also, they are very accomplished in this position and very comfortable as well. Going into the LCQ, big question marks as to how they were going to be faring, in all honesty. Just really looking quite bleak. They've just been really taking it to the next level ever since then.
Nu știu ce să zic. Eu zic că câștigăm. Nici o șansă. Evare Sport. Să mai zicem.
But Uber staying firm with his rival esports pick that he's been singing the praises of all weekend long.
Ia să vedem ce mapă avem aici. Avem... Hai, ziceți-mi ce mapă luați. Ce mapă luați, băieți? E fotbal? E fotbal sau? Numiți cu mine.
Mistakes here and there can definitely make that mentality waver just a little bit, and the slightest mistake will cost you the team. Will cost you team.
E fotbal. Fotbal și după aia Hayes și după aia Bounty. Nu, bine, hai să zicem că îi facem. Fotbal, nu știu ce să zic. Trebuie să iau un brawler bun ca să joace bine cu fotbal.
Dig deep when it comes to these drafts. Quite a balanced one, I feel. As we go in to center stage, the band's already in for reply to the Stu, the Nita, and the Otis. The Rival Esports, they do not want the Kenji or the Frank or the Mo. I think we've kind of seen far too much of Kenji slipping through this weekend, so I don't mind it at all. Certainly though, the Rico is open with the Vision gear as well. We know it's going to be
Avem pe Clanky. Interesant, think. Maru a luat Clank. Interesant, e bun. Surge a luat, bă, rivalii s-au luat Surge pe ea. Și avem Sisquake. Pe Brobol. Nu știu ce să zic. Joc. Joacă cu Surge cu Spike. Rico. Oare merge, bă? Nu știu. Ba da, merge pe Brobol, băieți. Merge cât de cât ok pe Brobol, nu mor. Nu e așa complicat.
That is a daring choice, but in the hands of Reply Totem, they do play some fantastic tanks. I was kind of surprised it wasn't the El Primo myself.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I mean, with Maru on that brawler, you never know what's going to happen, but Rosa, you know, pretty simple.
Ia să intru și eu pizza să văd mesajul vostru.
And have the shield to be able to walk in as many goals as you'd like.
Dacă mai sunt. Opa, ce îmi dai ignor? Salut, Estera. Mă scuzi, Estera. Salut, Estera. Salut, Estera, fan. Mă scuzi că ți-am dat ignor. Îmi pare rău. Îmi pare rău, n-am văzut chat-ul. Dacă vezi live-ul acesta, îmi pare rău că nu ți-am dat. Îmi pare rău că mai ești legendara. Mă scuzi că nu ți-am răspuns. Dacă mai ești Estera, salut Mihai. Salut Mihai. Aoleu. Ok, Rico. Ok, interesant. N-am văzut chat-ul dacă mai ești pe live. Era fan, n-am văzut chat-ul, acum am văzut. Dacă mai ești pe chat, îmi pare rău că nu ți-am zis. Ok. Rip totem. Ok. Mamă, ce aproape să dea și un gol. Mă, poate să dă și... A dat gol, bă. Ce face Stelafan? Îmi pare rău că nu ți-am zis să arăt. Mă scuz, n-am mai citit chat-ul. N-am citit chat-ul, îmi pare rău că nu am citit. Abia acum citesc. Îmi pare rău că nu ți-am citit, am încercat să... Era un pic atent la finalele astea, că cred că câștigă italianii, băieți. Eu zic că câștigă cei doi italieni cu spanioli, băieți. Nu câștigă rivali sport. Eu zic că... Eu nu zic că... Hai zicem că câștigă. Am crezut că nu vrei să răspunzi. Da, n-am vrut să... Nu era cu chestia cum ai zis tu, că am vrut să răspund. Am vrut să răspund. Îmi pare rău că nu am răspuns. Ok. Am văzut un comentariu m-am uitat un pic pe source. Am văzut, a apărut un comentariu că am greșit un cuvânt, bă. Mi-a zis Derbox. Bă, Derbox 2.0, ha? Derbox și o față de... Bă, exact noaptea asta, băi. Frumos. Frumos din partea lui. Ia să vedem dacă dă gol. Dă gol roza, bă. Și gata. A dat gol. Easy, bă. Ce mai vrei? Hai că mai are un gol și gata. Termină meciul acesta și face un scor. Termină, ia punctul. Punctul ăsta are totem pentru ei. Dacă Serge ăsta e un pic enervant, Serge. Nu știu ce să zic. Da, recuperează, bă, rivalii sport. Deci recuperează rivalii sport, bă. Bă, nu, spate. Recuperează, bă. Ok. Nu-i nimic, ok, Messi că ai avut răbdare. De săptămâna viitoare începem din nou, ne apucăm din nou de live-urile obișnuite. Dar nu o să fie, o să facem vinerea și sâmbătă, cam așa. O să facem live cu un pic, să facem rankuri. Azi vedem un rank 50, vedem dacă facem un rank 50 pe live și o să vedeți pe episod cum e. Vedem dacă facem rank 50 sau altceva, nu știu, vedem dacă luăm alt brawler sau facem ceva, nu știu. Sau pușăm spre revenim trofeele, vedem ce facem săptămâna viitoare, dar pe mâine o să mai facem o live în care o să vedem cine câștigă campionatul mondial. Sunt foarte mulți finaliști, aici avem pe acest retomet, este semifinală, se poate fi în semifinală. Urmează Sisgames, care și cu Crazy Raton, mi se pare că una dintre echipele acestea o să se califice. Și mai este HMB se poate să se califice în finale. Sperăm să vedem o finală faină, că nu o să mai vedem Zeta Division. Au pierdut meciul Zeta Division, din păcate. Asta e ce să mai facem. Dacă a jucat cu Europa, n-ai ce face. Nu ce face Zeta Division. Trebuie să mai zezi. Da. Trebuie să mai las și pentru alții, nu doar pentru ei. Așa că bine că măcar au avut bun simț și s-au oprit. No. Ok. Ok, ia să vedem meciul acesta. Egalitate. Egalitate mai... Ok. Ia să vedem dacă dă gol, băi, gol. Rico, hai, hai că dă gol, bă, gol, zici că suntem la fotbal, băi. Hai, mă, gol, hai să mai dă un gol, Ems, băi. Maru, mai dă un gol și tu acolo. Sau Meriu. Maru sau Meru, dă și tu un gol acolo. Clanky, dă și tu un gol acolo, că e bun și așa. Și cred că și Rico poate să dea și el. Acolo. Nu, e bun. E bun. Apărat. A fost apărat. Bine că a fost apărat.
Super going to be missed there on the left-hand side from Milcreo too. They need to push out Omaru, who's there waiting for them. Twisty Hughes blocks up that avenue, but Chaos picks up the mid. Now leaves it in
okay.
3, and Shu and Milcreo have got a lot of work to do, especially with Omaru straight in the face like this. 14 seconds. I just don't see how this is possible for Rival Esports.
Aproape de câștigare, hai că ținem un pic. Mai ține un pic acum și câștigă un punct. Mai trebuie să joace 2 meciuri, cam așa. Și au câștigat, băieți, au câștigat prima rundă, dar nu trebuie să se relaxeze, bineînțeles că nu trebuie să se relaxeze. Bineînțeles că nu trebuie să se relaxeze, acum trebuie să ia în forță. Trebuie să ia în forță ca să joace. Uite că vă mulțumesc tuturor care, dacă vedeți acest, vă mulțumesc că am revenit la 2310, vă mulțumesc tuturor care m-ați ajutat să ajungem din nou la acea sumă și rest foarte mult, așa că hai să vedem în continuare acest campionat, să vedem cine se califică ultimul loc din campionatul acesta, REACTIONAM sau Rivale Sport. Avem cel mai... ce să mai zicem?
Chaos got 2 kills more than the entirety of Rival Esports' kills combined. That says to me a big story.
Avem aici, bă, au dat foarte mult teme. Maori, au dat un gol, au dat bine. Au dat bine, ăla. Jucat bine. Și Maru a jucat bine. Să mai zicem.
Thinking better of that idea now. We're going on to Kaboom Canyon in Heist as the second set. Will Totem extend their lead, or will Rival Esports close that gap and make it 1-1?
Au jucat și ei bine, ce să mai zicem.
We'll see if that aggression from Reply Totem is going to remain and win in this second set.
Certainly, for me, a tough game mode to have as your second set. The one that you've got in the bag already on the side of Reply Totem. You can get a bit overzealous, a bit overconfident. Heist can be brutal. The bands being the Bell, the Crow, and the Amber. I like that Crow band, I've got to say. The Mo, the Angelo, and now the Clancy coming in as the first pick from Reply Totem. The Colette band, love that as well. 6 individual brawlers out of the mix. Clancy could be quite risky, it must be said. I think a good deterrent, though, however, of the Chuck potential. That might be where they're thinking with that idea to have something solid on a defense, but certainly Now, if you're left in that lower stage of Clancy, you really are a bit of a sitting duck and open to a lot of ranged ideas.
Avem haste acum. Hai să vedem. Avem Gale, ok. Avem Lola.
Yeah, I'm not loving that from Rival Esports, I will say. The Lola adding to it as well, going to be able to bring some good DPS and the ability to tank some shots from the Clancy as well with that ego and freeze frame if that's what they choose to go with. But the Gale, yeah, I'm with you. I'm not feeling it too much. It's going to work. It's fine. It's good against tanks. It's a good preventative measure. But Reply Totems still have a long way to go through their draft, and they can just pivot off any ideas they wanted to go with tanks. They're going to go with the Piper. That's going to be pretty good against the Gale. Once the ego's down, Lola might have some legs, but in the early game, Piper's going to thrive.
Tough to play into the Lola though as well with the ego. You know, certainly if Reply Totem can break that mid early on, and that Lola's going to have a great time with the vision gear, obviously, as a result of that pick from the side of Rival Esports. So I think for the side of Reply Totem, they're going to want to open up as much as possible. But with Kenji now, into the game, it's going to be very hard to make it work. I mean, certainly, I think a couple of these brawlers maybe kind of counteracting one another.
Hey, melody, oh, melody.
I'm starting to side more with Rival Esports here. I think that Melody pick was the one that maybe Reply Totem should have considered a bit more. We haven't seen the best of win rates for Kenji on Heist. And it's one of those brawlers that, yes, it is exceptionally good, but is the best mode for it on Heist?
You know, it kind of seems like Reply Totem going to be banking on the Kenji, assassinate a lot of these brawls and getting the real kind of team Hyper's going to do to the safe.
Avem foarte bine aici jucat. Avem totem, rivali de sport. Ok. Ok, joacă bine acolo. Kenji acolo. Mai dă niște damage și clank acolo frumos. Ce să mai zicem? Îi dăm și noi, hai să vedem. Hai zicem un confeti. Îi dăm și noi acolo. Așa. Aoleo, dă damage mai aproape, dă aproape. A, uite că e Kenji acolo, e bun. E bun, mai dat mai mult damage. Mai mult damage decât... Ok. No, a dat damage mai mult acum, bă. Băi, băiatule. A dat damage. Toarnă. Deci că toarnă. No. E jale. Aici cred că... E jale aici, ce să mai zicem. Dacă nu se apără, nașpa, bă, aproape, Gale, nu lăsați pe Gale. Bă, ce să mai zicem. Da, doar să apere, cred că aude că nu. Cum mai dau damage? E cam... E cam nasol. E cam nasol pentru Totem, că poate să câștige prima rundă rivalis. Da, îi dă o impuls pentru echipa asta, îi dă un impuls, mi se pare. Mi se pare că o să-i dea impuls. O să joace mai tryharder. Să vedeți că joacă mai tryharder acum. Că s-au activat. S-au activat că nu s-au săturat.
Trickle down damage now. Shu comes in, has some notes around him as well. Gadget used, gets a decent bit of damage. And kind of the flip of what we saw in the last one where reply totem started so strong. Maru really not having the best of times against Melty or Milkrow as they keep on kind of peppering down this shield that he does get. Now the pinch comes in, Melody might be able to get a few shots and finish him off here. Gadget's not going to be used just yet and does go down. Shu now
Aoleu, a dat damage mai mult.
firmly with a grip on mid.
Rivales acum... Ce fac? Nu apără nimic ăștia. Încearcă să apere și dar nu prea poate să dea damage. Nu știu ce să zic. Aici cu damage-ul mai greu pentru ei. Damage-ul aici nu prea au cum să fac nimic.
I mean, the fact that Shu can do this and just run up the map and try and escape does really nice job. Mori solo, he's going to choose to go for the save. Chaos jumps back, gets picked up as well.
Doar să clank-ul ăla, trebuia să doboare, bă. Nu apără nimica, bă, gata, sunt morți. Nu mai... E cu 90 nu mai poate să facă nimica. Ba da, bă. Ba da, dar dacă trebuie să apere. Ba da, bă. Dar trebuie să dea damage foarte mult. O grămadă trebuie să dea. O găleată. Dar să nu se nici aproape ei de... Nu știu ce să zic. Aici e un pic complicat să mai zic. Ce să mai zic aici? Da, a făcut un cât egalitate, bă. Bă, frate. Bă, frate. Nu se poate. Vreau să văd o echipă Europa, să se bată două echipe europene pentru Cupa pentru în finale. Vreau să văd una echipă finalistă europeană. Pe bune acum. Vreau să văd acest lucru. O finală de aia care să zică că da, boss. A început iarăși reroare. Da, au dat mai mult damage aia. Aș ce să mai zic și eu. Aș juca și ei. Te-au putut.
The high DPS there of Chaos, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I was going to say commendable performance from Chaos there. 370 DPS with the sharpshooter of Piper. Really nice stuff from all members of Reply Totem. But as you say, Heist, one of the most objective-based game modes that we have in Brawl Stars, and Shu played that to perfection.
It really was wonderful, wasn't it? You know, just kept Reply Totem on that back foot time and time again. And
următorul meci care e asta? Să ne uităm. Avem Bounty, văleu, trebuie să câștige și Bounty și... Nu, ca văleu. Ce să mai zicem? Cred că sperăm să câștige.
Let's see, we've got
well, you just named pretty much all the bands.
The Gene and the Surge as well, I really quite like here as well. But, I mean, Shelly, Griff, there's still some big offenders open here. Certainly, for both sides. You've got to be so careful where you lurk in these bushes.
I mean, the draft is what wins Snake Prairie. So, this set probably going to be...
Avem Moe, ok. Da. Nu știu cine câștigă. Toate cred că câștigă. Așa că vă mulțumesc tuturor că ați stat până la final. Cei care au stat, vă mulțumesc tuturor. Ne vedem mâine pe Brosa, băieți. Ne vedem mâine la finala Brosa. O să pun mâine programarea, așa că... Sau, da, mâine o să pun programarea, așa că ne revedem data viitoare. Și pa, pa!
In the fifth and final set, I can understand it here with the drop the base, getting a lot of information from your opposition.